In this video, we're going to break down 100 One Piece lore secrets you never noticed. First up, Luffy's devil fruit was long believed to be the Gomu Gomu no Mi. It's later revealed as the Hito Hito no Mi model, Nika. Luffy's devil fruit was actually the Hito Hito no Mi model, Nika. For over 20 years, fans believed Monkey D. Luffy ate the Gomu Gomu no Mi, a paramecia-type devil fruit that turned his body into rubber. However, during the Wano Country arc in Chapter 1044, the biggest secret in One Piece was finally revealed. Luffy's fruit was never the Gomu Gomu no Mi at all. The fruit's real name is the Hito Hito no Mi model, Nika. It's actually a mythical Zoan-type devil fruit, not a paramecia. This fruit allows the user to transform into the legendary sun god Nika, a warrior who brings joy and freedom to people. The world government renamed this fruit to Gomu Gomu no Mi hundreds of years ago to hide its true power and importance. The world government had been chasing this specific devil fruit for over 800 years but never managed to get it. Around 900 years ago, during the Void Century, a man named Joy Boy ate this fruit and became the first pirate in history. He awakened its true powers. After Joy Boy died, the fruit disappeared until 13 years before the main story began. Shanks and his red hair pirates stole the fruit from a world government ship. They kept it in a chest at Party's bar in Fuchsia Village. Young Luffy ate the fruit by accident while Shanks wasn't looking, thinking it was dessert. This gave Luffy his rubber body. During Luffy's battle against Kaido in Wano, Luffy died and then came back to life. His devil fruit finally awakened after 800 years. He unlocked Gear 5, turning his hair white and giving him incredible, cartoon-like powers. This transformation revealed the fruit's true nature as the Hito Hito no Mi model, Nika, shocking the entire world. Moving on to how eating any devil fruit makes you unable to swim. Every devil fruit user cannot swim in water. One of the biggest trade-offs for eating any devil fruit in One Piece is the complete loss of the ability to swim. This applies to every single devil fruit user. No matter what type of fruit they ate or what powers they gained, the moment someone eats a devil fruit, they become what people in the One Piece world call a hammer, because they sink straight to the bottom like a heavy weight. When a devil fruit user's body gets submerged in water, they rapidly lose all their energy and muscle control. Their limbs become weak, and they cannot move properly. They become completely helpless and unable to stay afloat, even if they try. This happens because the sea rejects devil fruit users. The ocean hates them and drains their strength away. Creator Eiichiro Oda confirmed in the SBS Question Corner that devil fruit users are weak to all types of water, not just ocean water. This includes rivers, lakes, pools, and even the White Sea around Skypiea. However, Oda also explained that moving water like rain, waves, or waterfalls does not weaken devil fruit users. Only standing water, where they are submerged, affects them. According to Oda, a devil fruit user needs at least half of their body submerged in water before they become completely immobilized and helpless. Smaller amounts of water touching them won't drain all their strength immediately. For example, Luffy can take baths and showers without problem because not enough of his body is underwater at once. Even when underwater and powerless, devil fruit users don't lose their actual powers. Luffy's rubber body stays rubber even when he's drowning. He just becomes too weak to use his abilities or move his body. In a world made mostly of ocean, with islands scattered everywhere, this weakness makes life extremely dangerous for pirates and marines who ate devil fruits. Moving on to how just one bite grants a devil fruit's power, and the fruit tastes disgusting. One bite grants a devil fruit's power. Disgusting. Devil fruits in One Piece are famous for two things. First, they give incredible powers to anyone who eats them. Second, they taste absolutely horrible. Only a single bite from any devil fruit is needed to gain its full power. After that first bite is taken, the rest of the fruit becomes completely useless and powerless. The fruit turns into just a regular disgusting fruit with no special abilities left inside it. Creator Eiichiro Oda confirmed this fact in the SBS Question Corner of Volume 77. A fan asked what would happen if someone took one bite and another person ate the rest. Oda explained that only the first person to bite the fruit gets the power. Anyone who eats the remaining fruit after that gets nothing except a terrible taste in their mouth. Despite this fact, many people in the One Piece world don't know about the one-bite rule. As a result, most devil fruit users eat the entire fruit anyway. Characters like Monkey D, Luffy, Buggy the Clown, and Tony Chopper all consumed their devil fruits completely. Buggy even swallowed his whole fruit in one gulp by accident. You can also peel the fruit and eat it piece by piece, like CP9 agents Kaku and Khalifa did, and it still works the same way. Every single devil fruit tastes unimaginably bad. The flavor is so disgusting that people describe it as worse than poison. Characters who knowingly eat devil fruits must prepare themselves for an awful experience. In the manga, when Kaku and Khalifa ate their devil fruits during the Enies Lobby arc, their crewmate Jabra warned them about the horrible taste. After eating their fruits, both agents made disgusted faces and confirmed the taste was as terrible as warned. Sabo also described his devil fruit as tasting absolutely horrible when he ate the Mera no Mi. The taste is so universally bad that it's considered one of the major downsides of gaining devil fruit powers. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to how the world government promoted Gold Roger as a misreading to bury the D in goal. D. The world government promoted Gold Roger as a misreading to bury the D in Gold D. Roger. The Pirate King's real name is Gold D. Roger, but the world government deliberately changed it to Gold Roger to hide an important secret. This name change wasn't an accident or a simple mistake. It was a calculated move by the world government to conceal the fact that Roger carried the mysterious initial D in his name. The world government feared the power and meaning behind this letter, so they manipulated information worldwide to make people forget Roger's true identity. The names sound almost identical when spoken aloud, making the deception easy to pull off. Gold D and Gold are pronounced nearly the same way, with only a single point and spacing separating them in writing. This allowed the world government to spread the false name Gold Roger throughout the world without most people questioning it. Even high-ranking Marine officers like Sengoku publicly called him Gold Roger to follow government guidelines, despite knowing his real name. Dr. Kureha was the first person in the One Piece story to reveal Roger's true name to the audience. She explained that the late Pirate King's actual name was Gold D. Roger, not Gold Roger as the world believed. This revelation came when she warned Dalton that Tony Chopper had joined up with a very dangerous man, referring to Monkey D, Luffy, who also carries the D initial. Before his death, Roger himself acknowledged this deception. During his final meeting with his rival, Edward Newgate, also known as Whitebeard, Roger mentioned that the government had given him the nickname Gold Roger. After visiting Laugh Tale and learning the true history of the world, Roger finally understood why the world government was hiding his real name. The D represents something far more significant than a simple middle initial, and the government desperately wanted to keep this truth buried. The world government's fear of the D runs deep. Members of the Clan of D are called the natural enemy of God and pose a threat to the world government's authority. By changing Roger's name to Gold Roger, they attempted to hide the fact that the king of the pirates belonged to this legendary clan. This way, most people in the world would never connect Roger to the mysterious will of D, keeping the secret safe for another generation. Moving on to how Panda Man, a gag character Oda created, appears as hidden cameos across chapters and episodes. Panda Man, a gag character Oda created, appears as hidden cameos across chapters and episodes. Pandaman is a joke character created by Eiichiro Oda that has become one of the most famous Easter eggs in the entire One Piece series. This character was not originally designed for One Piece at all. Oda first created Pandaman as an entry for the new Chojin contest, which was a character creation contest for the popular manga series Kinnikuman. The contest was held to create new wrestler characters for that series. Pandaman's design was entry number 12 and appeared in the Kinnikuman tribute book called Kinnikuman 77 Mysteries that was published on the 16th of December 1998. After creating Pandaman for the Kinnikuman contest, Oda decided to include this character in his own manga One Piece as a recurring background character. Pandaman's most distinctive feature is his head, which looks like a panda. Sometimes the word panda is written on his forehead. Whether this is a mask or his actual face remains unknown. His body type changes from appearance to appearance, making him harder to spot. In some appearances, he looks tall and muscular, while in other scenes he appears slim or even scrawny to help him blend into crowd scenes better. According to information Oda revealed in the SBS Question Corner sections, Pandaman has a backstory within the One Piece world. He was abandoned in a bamboo thicket in Tibet as an infant, and was raised by giant pandas. Pandaman would often tell people that he had seen Princess Kaguya, but nobody believed him, so he was bullied. This led him to become a devil Chojin. He eventually became wealthy but got into debt problems with a character called Tomato Gang, who has been chasing him ever since. Pandaman has a rival named Unforgivable Mask, who was hired by Tomato Gang to track him down. Pandaman made his first appearance in the One Piece manga in chapter 44, where the character Gin first showed up at the Baratier restaurant. In the anime, Pandaman appeared even earlier in episode 16 among the Black Cat Pirates. Since then, Pandaman has appeared in almost every story arc throughout One Piece. He has been spotted in the manga, anime episodes, movies, and even video games. Pandaman has made approximately 263 manga cameos and appeared in around 108 anime episodes. He is usually hidden in the background of crowd scenes, often with only his head visible, peeking out from behind other characters, or at the edge of panels. Fans have to carefully scan crowd scenes to spot him, making finding Pandaman similar to playing Where's Waldo. Even though Pandaman never plays an important role in the actual story, he remains a fun Easter egg for dedicated fans to discover throughout the series. Moving on to how. There are 4 road poneglyphs. Together, they pinpoint Laugh Tale. 4 road poneglyphs pinpoint Laugh Tale. There are 4 road poneglyphs in the One Piece world. These are special red stones that are different from regular blue poneglyphs. Regular poneglyphs contain historical information about the Void Century and other important events. Road poneglyphs serve a completely different purpose. They hold the key to finding Laugh Tale, the final island at the end of the Grand Line. Each road poneglyph contains information about one specific location. When someone finds all 4 road poneglyphs and reads them together, they learn about 4 different points in the ocean. These 4 points do not directly show where Laugh Tale is located. Instead, the 4 locations create a shape when marked on a map. If someone draws lines connecting these 4 points, the lines form an X shape. The place where these lines cross in the middle is where Laugh Tale can be found. This system makes finding Laugh Tale extremely difficult. A person cannot find Laugh Tale with just 1, 2, or even 3 road poneglyphs. They absolutely need all 4 to pinpoint the exact location. Even if someone has 3 road poneglyphs, they cannot know which pair of locations forms the diagonal line. They might travel to the midpoint of an edge instead of the center, which would be the wrong location. The world government prohibits research on poneglyphs. Many people believe this is because the government does not want anyone to reach Laugh Tale. They do not want anyone to find what is hidden there. The treasure left by Joy Boy and the truth about the Void Century remain protected by this system. Only someone who can find all 4 road poneglyphs and read the ancient language can discover where Laugh Tale truly sits. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to the fact that confirmed road poneglyph locations have included Zoo, Whole Cake Island, and Wano, Onigashima. The 4th is missing. Road poneglyph locations. 3 road poneglyph locations have been confirmed so far. The first confirmed location is Zoo. Zoo is a moving island because it sits on the back of a giant elephant named Zunaisha. The road poneglyph on Zoo is located inside the whale tree. This tree stands in the center of Mokomo Dukedom. The Mink tribe protects this poneglyph. When Jack and the Beast's pirates invaded Zoo to search for Raizo, the Mink tribe chained Raizo to the road poneglyph to hide him. The Straw Hat Pirates found this road poneglyph during the Zoo arc. The second confirmed location is Whole Cake Island. This road poneglyph belongs to Big Mom, one of the 4 emperors. She keeps it stored in her treasure vault inside Whole Cake Chateau in Toto Land. Big Mom had this poneglyph even 25 years ago when Goldie Roger copied it. Nobody knows exactly how she originally obtained it. Some people think she might have gotten it from Elbaf or from God Valley. During the Whole Cake Island arc, Brook successfully created a copy of this poneglyph and hid it inside his skull. The third confirmed location is Wano Country. More specifically, it is hidden in a secret cavern at the foot of the submerged Mount Fuji in the old part of Wano. This location was shown to Nico Robin and Trafalgar Law by Kozuki Sukiyaki after the defeat of Kaido. The Kozuki family has protected this poneglyph for generations. The 4th road poneglyph remains missing. Nobody knows where it is currently located. Rumors exist about a man with burn scars who might possess this final road poneglyph. Various theories suggest it could be hidden on islands like Elbaf, Hachinosu, or Vera. Some even speculate it might be on the moon. Until someone finds this 4th road poneglyph, reaching Laugh Tale remains impossible. Moving on to how Roger named the last island Laugh Tale after reaching it and laughing with his crew. Roger named the island Laugh Tale. Goldie. Roger was the first person to reach the final island. This happened 25 years before the current story begins. Roger had temporarily recruited Kozuki Odin from the Whitebeard Pirates. Odin could read the ancient language written on poneglyphs. Roger needed this ability to find the final island. The Roger pirates worked hard to uncover the mystery behind the road poneglyphs. They located all 4 of them during their final voyage through the Grand Line. When the Roger pirates finally reached the mysterious final island, something unexpected happened. They found the treasure that Joy Boy had left there centuries ago. Roger and his entire crew burst into laughter upon seeing it. They learned the truth about what happened during the Void Century. They discovered the real nature of the ancient weapons. They found out the meaning of the initial D that some people carry in their names. The nature of the treasure, combined with everything they learned about Joy Boy in the past, seemed like a funny story to Roger. This inspired him to name the final island Laugh-Tale. The name was a play on words. There is a famous pirate song called Binks's Sake. The final line of this song contains the phrase, funny tale, or laugh-tale in Japanese. Roger quoted this exact line before naming the island. However, the song existed long before Roger named the island. News of Roger achieving this goal spread throughout the entire world. This achievement earned him the title of Pirate King. The true nature of what made Roger and his crew laugh remains unknown to most people in the world. Moving on to how the empty throne symbolizes no single ruler, yet Imu secretly sits on it. The empty throne and Imu. The empty throne is a historical seat located on Mary Geoise inside Pangaea Castle. It sits at the very center of the world. The throne is extremely tall, with red and gold decorations. It bears the symbol of the world government. The golden armrests look like lion head statues. The throne sits on top of a 3-level platform positioned very high up from the main floor. This makes whoever sits on the throne appear supreme over everyone below. Officially, the empty throne has no occupant. This empty seat symbolizes that no single ruler controls the world. It represents peace and equality among all nations. When kings and queens attend the levee, they must pledge that they will not take the throne for themselves out of greed. This follows the example of the original 20 founding kings, who made this same pledge 800 years ago. 19 weapons belonging to these founding kings surround the throne as a symbol of their protection over it, and their vow that the world should have no singular ruler. However, this is all a lie. In reality, the empty throne has a secret occupant named Imu. Imu is the true supreme ruler of the world government. Even the 5 elders, who are publicly considered the highest authorities, bow down to Imu and serve them. Imu's existence has been kept an absolute secret within the government and from the world at large for centuries. This maintains the lie that no single person holds absolute power. Anyone outside of Imu's inner circle who learns about the supreme leader will be sentenced to death. Their exploits will be erased from history. This happened to Rox, and later to King Nefertari Cobra. Sabo witnessed Imu sitting on the empty throne during the recent levee and managed to escape, making him one of the few people in history to encounter Imu and survive. Moving on to how the world government was formed from 20 kingdoms, 19 moved to Mary Geoise, while Nefertari remained in Alabasta. World government formation and the 20 kingdoms. The world government was formed approximately 800 years ago. This happened at the end of a period called the Void Century. 20 different kingdoms united and formed an alliance. They fought together against a common enemy called the Great Kingdom. This war was led by Joy Boy on one side and the alliance of 20 kingdoms on the other. After the alliance won the war, they founded the world government. After their victory, 19 of the 20 royal families made a major decision. They left their home countries and moved to Mary Geoise. Mary-Geoise is located at the top of the Red Line, at the halfway point of the Grand Line. This location is called the center of the world. The 19 families became known as the World Nobles, or Celestial Dragons. They placed weapons around the empty throne as a sign that no single ruler should control everything. New royal families were chosen to replace them in their original kingdoms. For example, Dressrosa was originally ruled by the Don Quixote family. But after they left, the Riku family took over. However, one family made a different choice. The Nefertari family from Arabasta Kingdom decided not to move to Mary-Geoise. They chose to stay in their homeland and continue ruling their own country. This made them the only family among the 20 founding families who remained in their original kingdom. Queen Nefertari di Lili was the representative from Arabasta during the founding. She refused to become a world noble. Before she could return to Arabasta, she mysteriously vanished. Her younger brother succeeded her as ruler. The descendants of the 19 families who moved to Mary-Geoise still live there today as world nobles, while the Nefertari family continues to rule Arabasta after all these centuries. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to how Nico Robin can read poneglyphs. The Kozuki can inscribe or read them. Charlotte Pudding may read them when her third eye awakens. Reading poneglyphs. Nico Robin is the only person currently alive who can read poneglyphs. She learned this skill as a child on Ohara. Ohara was an island filled with archaeologists who secretly studied the ancient language written on poneglyphs. The world government considers researching this language to be a crime. When Robin was only 8 years old, she learned the ancient script by watching the archaeologists work. The world government destroyed Ohara with a Buster Call attack. Robin was the sole survivor of this tragedy. Since then, she has been hunted by the world government because of her ability to read poneglyphs. The Kozuki family from Wano country originally created the poneglyphs during the Void Century. They were master philologists who inscribed the ancient language onto these indestructible stones. The knowledge of how to read and write this language was passed down within their family for generations. Kozuki Odin could read poneglyphs. He traveled with Goldie, Roger, and helped the Roger pirates reach Laugh-Tale by reading the road poneglyphs. After Odin died, this family knowledge ended. His son Momonosuke was never taught before his father was executed. Kozuki Sukiyaki, Odin's father, is still alive and can also read poneglyphs. Charlotte Pudding is the daughter of Big Mom. She is a hybrid between a human and a member of the Three-Eye tribe. Members of the Three-Eye tribe have a special potential ability. When their third eye truly awakens, they can hear the voice of all things and decipher poneglyphs. Pudding has not awakened this ability yet. She worries she might never awaken it because of her mixed heritage. However, Big Mom believed Pudding would eventually gain this power. The Blackbeard pirates recently kidnapped Pudding, possibly because they want to use her ability to read the road poneglyphs. Moving on to how the ancient weapon Poseidon is. Princess Shirahoshi, who can command Sea Kings. Ancient weapon Poseidon. Poseidon is one of the 3 ancient weapons. Unlike the other ancient weapons, Poseidon is not an object. Poseidon is actually a living being. It takes the form of a mermaid from the Ryugu Kingdom royal bloodline. This special mermaid has an extraordinary ability. She can communicate with and command the Sea Kings. Sea Kings are enormous sea creatures that inhabit all the oceans of the world. They are huge and carnivorous monsters. These creatures are capable of massive destruction and can sink entire islands with ease. The current Poseidon is Princess Shirahoshi. She is the 16-year-old mermaid princess of the Ryugu Kingdom on Fishman Island. Shirahoshi is the youngest child and only daughter of King Neptune. 8 years before the current story, Shirahoshi first demonstrated her power. Her mother, Queen Otohime, was under threat from a world noble. Shirahoshi cried out and accidentally summoned a group of sea kings. This alerted everyone to her extraordinary ability. At first, Shirahoshi could not control this power. She would summon sea kings unintentionally through her loud cries. Her ability fully awakened during the battle against the new Fishman pirates. Shirahoshi summoned the Sea Kings to stop the giant ship Noah from crashing into Fishman Island. This time, she could communicate with them perfectly. The Sea Kings stated they were called by Shirahoshi's strong desire to help Luffy. The Sea Kings themselves revere the mermaid princess as their queen. They do not know why their queen always takes the form of a mermaid. This power is considered one of the most formidable weapons in existence. When guided by love, Poseidon can safeguard countless lives. When driven by malice, it can plunge the world into ruin. Moving on to how Pluton is an ancient weapon sleeping beneath Wano. Its blueprints were later burned by Franky. Ancient weapon Pluton. Pluton is one of the 3 ancient weapons. It is a highly advanced warship, capable of mass destruction. It is labeled the world's worst battleship. Pluton was constructed long ago in the City of Water 7 during the Void Century. According to Tom, who was considered the best shipwright in the world, Pluton is the most monstrous ship ever made in the history of shipbuilding. The battleship is said to be capable of destroying whole islands with a single shot. Pluton is currently located deep beneath Mount Fuji in Wano country. This was revealed when Nico Robin read the poneglyph in the basement of the shogun's castle. Kozuki Sukiyaki, a former shogun of Wano, confirmed this information. He escorted Robin and Trafalgar Law down a secret staircase to a cavern at the base of Mount Fuji. Sukiyaki informed them that Pluton was buried further beneath the mountain. The ancient settlement of Old Wano was submerged long ago. In order for Pluton to be released, the mountainous walls surrounding Wano would have to be brought down. This is the true meaning of opening Wano's borders. The shipwrights who built Pluton kept the blueprints as a safety measure. If Pluton ever fell into the wrong hands, another one could be built to fight the existing weapon. These blueprints were passed down from master to apprentice shipwrights for generations. 10 years before the main story, the blueprints were held by Tom of Tom's workers. Tom handed them to his apprentice Iceberg. 5 years later, Iceberg entrusted them to another apprentice named Cutty Flam, also known as Franky. During the Enies Lobby arc, Franky witnessed the Straw Hats declare war on the world government for Robin's sake. Seeing their commitment, Franky revealed the blueprints and burned them right in front of the world government agents. This eliminated the option of building a countermeasure for the real weapon. Moving on to how the Rio Poneglyph refers to the complete true history. The Rio Poneglyph. The Rio Poneglyph refers to the complete true history of the One Piece world. It is not a single physical poneglyph. Instead, it represents the collective message carried by 9 specific poneglyphs scattered along the Grand Line. These 9 poneglyphs are called historical poneglyphs. Each one contains fragments of the true history. When all 9 are read together, they reveal the complete story of what happened during the Void Century. The term Rio Poneglyph literally translates to true text of history. This information was confirmed by Baron Tamago of the Big Mom Pirates. According to what Nico Robin explained, someone must take all the passages from these 9 historical poneglyphs with them on their travels. Only when these stones are read as one will they fill in the missing information about the Void Century. The complete history is revealed only upon reaching the end of the world. This means the information must be brought to the final island, Laugh Tale. Gul D. Roger was the only person known to have successfully collected the messages from all 9 historical poneglyphs. He accomplished this task by using his ability to hear the voice of all things. This power allowed him to sense where the poneglyphs were located. Roger also had Kozuki Odin with him. Odin could read the ancient language written on the poneglyphs. Together, they deciphered the true history of the world. They learned about the Void Century and what really happened during that time. Nico Robin's greatest dream is to find the Rio poneglyph and learn the complete, true history. She wants to fulfill the aspirations of the scholars of Ohara. These scholars were killed by the world government for attempting to study the poneglyphs. The world government forbids any research into the Void Century because they want to keep the true history hidden from the world. Moving on to how the poneglyph at Fishman Island carries Joy Boy's apology for failing a promise. Joy Boy's apology at Fishman Island. A special poneglyph rests in the sea forest on Fishman Island. Nico Robin found this poneglyph during the Straw Hat Pirates' visit to the island. When she read it, she discovered something unusual. Unlike other poneglyphs that contain historical information, this one contains a letter of apology. The apology was written by a mysterious figure named Joy Boy. He lived on the surface during the Void Century, approximately 900 years ago. Joy Boy's message was directed to the mermaid princess who lived on Fishman Island during his time. He apologized for breaking his promise to the people of Fishman Island. The promise involved a huge ship called Noah. Noah was created during the Void Century and is almost half the size of Fishman Island itself. Joy Boy promised that he would use the power of Poseidon to raise Noah to the surface. He planned to bring the citizens of Fishman Island to live under the real sun with him on the surface world. However, Joy Boy failed to keep this promise for unknown reasons. He was defeated in the Great War at the end of the Void Century. The Alliance of 20 Kingdoms won the war against Joy Boy and the Great Kingdom. After his defeat, Joy Boy could not fulfill his promise. He wrote his apology on the poneglyph to explain himself. In the message, Joy Boy also promised that someone would come in the future to fulfill this promise in his place. The people of Fishman Island accepted Joy Boy's apology. They promised to keep Noah safe in the ocean until the appointed time comes. This legend has been passed down through the royal family for 800 years. King Neptune explained this to Robin. The exact details of the original promise remain unclear. However, the Fishman Island residents continue to protect Noah, waiting for the day when someone will finally fulfill Joy Boy's broken promise. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to how Roger and Odin could hear the voice of all things. Luffy and Momonosuke have shown this as well. The voice of all things. The voice of all things is a rare and mysterious ability in the One Piece world. It allows certain individuals to communicate with beings in a manner that goes beyond normal language. Those who possess this power can hear and understand the voices of animals and even some inanimate objects. They can perceive the true thoughts and emotions inside these beings without any need for speech or written words. It works like a form of telepathy between the user and the being they are communicating with. Gul D. Roger possessed this ability. He could hear the voices of the Sea Kings, the giant creatures that inhabit the oceans. Roger also sensed the voice of Zunatia, the enormous elephant that carries the island of Zu on its back. Most importantly, Roger could hear the voice of the poneglyphs. Even though he could not read the ancient script written on them, he could sense their importance. This ability helped him locate the poneglyphs and understand they held valuable information. Roger used this power to reach Laugh-Tale and uncover the true history of the world. Kozuki Oden also possessed this ability. He could hear the Sea Kings and sense Zunisha's voice, similar to Roger. However, it remains unclear if Oden could talk back to these beings. His son, Kozuki Momonosuke, inherited this power. Momonosuke has shown exceptional talent with the voice of all things. He is the only person who can directly converse with Zunisha. Momonosuke can even give commands to the elephant. He ordered Zunisha to attack the beast pirates when they threatened the island. Monkey D. Luffy also has this ability. He heard the Sea Kings when Shirahoshi summoned them at Fishman Island. Luffy can hear Zunisha calling for help. He has also communicated with Emmet, the Iron Giant. However, Luffy does not fully understand or control this power yet. His use of the voice of all things appears less consistent than Roger, Oden, or Momonosuke. Moving on to how Zunisha was punished for walking for a crime 800 years ago and responds to specific commands. Zunisha's crime and punishment. Zunisha is a Naitami Norida elephant that was affiliated with Joy Boy approximately 800 years ago during the Void Century. It now wanders through the New World and carries the island of Zu on its back as punishment for an unspecified crime it committed in the past. Zunisha is enormous, comparable to an island in sheer scale. Its legs are extremely long and disproportionate. The elephant can walk on the sea floor while its upper body, including about a third of each leg, remains above water. It stands over 5 kilometers tall, making it the largest character ever introduced in the series. Momonosuke revealed that Zunisha was sentenced to walk for eternity and only act when ordered. This punishment was given because of a crime Zunisha committed long ago. The exact nature of this crime has not been revealed. However, the punishment is severe. Zunisha cannot do anything except walk unless it receives explicit permission from someone who can understand it. Only those who possess the voice of all things can hear Zunisha speak. These individuals include Gold D, Roger, Kozuki Oden, Monkey D, Luffy, and Kozuki Momonosuke. When Jack and the Beast Pirates attacked Zu, Zunisha requested permission to fight back. Both Luffy and Momonosuke heard its voice. Zunisha explained that it was punished and could not act without orders. Only Momonosuke gave the command to fight. Upon receiving this permission, Zunisha counterattacked and easily destroyed Jack's fleet with a single swing of its massive trunk. The elephant is capable of communicating telepathically with those who have the voice of all things. Despite its enormous size and strength, Zunisha shows great concern for the mink tribe who live on its back. It willingly supports their civilization despite being forced to walk endlessly as punishment for its ancient crime. Moving on to how an ancient robot climbed the Red Line and reached Mary Geoz about 200 years ago before losing power. The ancient robot at Mary Geoz. An ancient robot known as Emmet was created around the time of the Void Century. Approximately 900 years ago, Emmet was a friend of Joy Boy during that ancient era. The robot is as tall as the ancient giants. It wears a horned helmet, and its face and lower body are covered by grills with vertical bars. The left horn on its helmet broke off over 200 years ago and remains missing. 200 years before the current story, Emmet suddenly appeared out of nowhere. The ancient robot climbed up the Red Line, which is an incredible feat given how massive and tall this natural wall is. After climbing to the top, Emmet reached Mary Geoz and attacked the Holy Land. However, the robot ran out of energy before it could cause any damage. Emmet lost power and collapsed before completing whatever mission it had intended to accomplish. The world government then ordered a group of scientists to destroy the fallen robot. However, J. Garcia Saturn, one of the 5 elders, secretly gave different instructions to the scientists. Saturn commanded them to hide the robot and study it instead of destroying it. He wanted to use the data they collected for military purposes one day. Saturn assured the scientists that he would protect them if their research was ever discovered. The robot eventually fell into the hands of Dr. Vegapunk. Vegapunk could never get the robot to work properly. He was unable to replicate the mysterious ancient energy that powers it. This energy source was common during the Void Century, but cannot be reproduced with modern technology. The robot remained dormant for centuries. It only reactivated when it heard the drums of liberation, the unique heartbeat rhythm that occurs when Monkey D. Luffy transforms into Gear 5. This sound awakened Emmet once again, after 200 years of sleep. Moving on to how Ohara was destroyed by a Buster Call, giants salvaged the books, and Vegapunk safeguarded them on Elbaf. Ohara's destruction and the saved books. Ohara was an island located in the West Blue. The island consisted primarily of archaeologists and scholars. It was notable for the Tree of Knowledge, a 5,000-year-old gigantic library tree. 22 years before the current story, the scholars of Ohara were secretly researching the poneglyphs. They were attempting to uncover the truth about the Void Century. The world government strictly forbids any research into this historical period. When the world government discovered that Ohara's scholars were conducting illegal research, they decided to destroy the entire island. A Buster Call is a military operation involving multiple marine warships and vice admirals. The attack completely destroyed Ohara. The Tree of Knowledge was burned to the ground. Almost every citizen of Ohara was killed. Nico Robin was the only known survivor. Before they died, the scholars of Ohara made a desperate attempt to save their knowledge. They threw all the books from the Tree of Knowledge library into a nearby lake. The books filled the entire basin of the water body. Months after the incident, a group of giants from Elbaf came to Ohara. They were led by Jaguar D. Saul, who had actually survived being frozen by Kuzan. Saul gathered a team of giants, including Goldberg, Gerd, and Hudruden. Together, they salvaged the surviving books from the lake. The giants transported all the books to Elbaf to keep them safe from the world government. Dr. Vegapunk and Monkey D. Dragon both independently visited Ohara after its destruction to pay their respects. Vegapunk witnessed the giants salvaging the books from the lake. He was moved to tears seeing this effort to preserve knowledge. Later, Vegapunk secretly traveled to Elbaf. He met with Saul there. Vegapunk read and memorized all the salvaged books. He effectively continued the research that Professor Clover and the other scholars had started. The books now rest safely on Elbaf, protected from the world government. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to how Jaguar D. Saul survived and lives on Elbaf. Jaguar D. Saul's survival on Elbaf. Jaguar D. Saul was a vice admiral in the Marines. He was a giant from Elbaf. During the Ohara incident, Saul helped a young Nico Robin escape. He was frozen by Kuzan, who was then known as Aokiji. Everyone believed that Saul died that day. However, Saul actually survived the freezing. After the attack on Ohara, Saul made his way to Elbaf. He has been living there ever since. When the Straw Hat Pirates arrived on Elbaf, they encountered Saul. He appeared with bandages wrapped around his body. These bandages covered injuries from the Ohara incident that happened decades earlier. Despite the passage of time, Saul still bore the physical scars from that traumatic event. Saul played a crucial role in preserving the knowledge of Ohara. After recovering from his injuries, he organized a group of giants. This team included Goldberg, Gerd, and Hajrudin. Together, they returned to the ruins of Ohara. The scholars had thrown all the books from the Tree of Knowledge into a lake before they died. Saul and the other giants worked to salvage these precious books from the water. They transported all the recovered books back to Elbaf. The giants have been protecting this knowledge ever since. Saul essentially became the guardian of Ohara's legacy. He kept the dream of the scholars alive. The books contain information about the Void Century and the true history of the world. Dr. Vegapunk later visited Elbaf and met with Saul. Vegapunk read all the salvaged books and memorized their contents. He continued the research that Professor Clover and the other Ohara scholars had begun. Saul's survival meant that the sacrifice of Ohara's scholars was not in vain. The knowledge they protected continues to exist on Elbaf. Moving on to how a Buster Call deployed 10 battleships led by 5 vice admirals. Buster Call. Military operation. A Buster Call is one of the most powerful military attacks in the One Piece world. It is an operation authorized by the highest levels of the world government. Only a fleet admiral or someone with a Golden Den Den Mushi can activate a Buster Call. The Golden Den Den Mushi is a special transponder snail that sends out the signal. When a Buster Call is activated, 10 battleships are immediately deployed to the target location. Each of these battleships is a powerful marine vessel. 5 vice admirals lead this massive fleet. Vice admirals are among the strongest fighters in the marine organization. They command the operation and coordinate the attack. The purpose of a Buster Call is complete and total destruction. The target is usually an island or location that the world government considers a major threat. The 10 battleships bombard the area with overwhelming firepower. They use their cannons to level everything in sight. Buildings are destroyed. Forests are burned. The landscape is completely devastated. The Marines show no mercy during a Buster Call. They aim to eliminate every single person in the target area. No one is allowed to escape. Any ships trying to leave are immediately sunk. The attack continues until nothing remains standing. The goal is total annihilation. Several Buster Calls have occurred in the One Piece story. The most famous was the attack on Ohara. That Buster Call destroyed the entire island and killed almost everyone there. Another Buster Call was activated during the Enies Lobby arc. Spandam accidentally triggered it with the Golden Den Den Mushi. The Straw Hat Pirates barely escaped as the 10 battleships began their assault. A Buster Call represents the absolute power of the world government. It shows their willingness to destroy anything that threatens their control. The sheer scale of destruction makes it one of the most feared military operations in the entire world. Moving on to how a Sea Stone Kairoseki drains Devil Fruit users' strength and his mind in Wano. Sea Stone and its properties. Sea Stone is called Kairoseki in Japanese. It is a rare and special mineral in the One Piece world. Sea Stone has unique properties that specifically affect Devil Fruit users. When a Devil Fruit user comes into contact with Sea Stone, they immediately lose their strength. Their powers stop working completely. They become weak and unable to move properly. The world government and Marines use Sea Stone extensively. They craft handcuffs and chains from this material. When they capture Devil Fruit users, they restrain them with Sea Stone equipment. This prevents prisoners from using their abilities to escape. Marine ships also have Sea Stone embedded in their hulls. This coating allows them to pass through the calm belt without being detected by Sea Kings. The Sea Kings mistake the ships for the ocean itself. Sea Stone is extremely hard and durable. It is nearly impossible to break or destroy. Only skilled craftsmen can shape and work with this material. The process requires special tools and techniques. Very few people possess the knowledge needed to manipulate sea stone properly. Wano country is the primary source of sea stone in the world. The mineral is mined from locations within Wano. The craftsmen of Wano have generations of expertise in working with sea stone. They know how to refine it and shape it into various forms. Wano produces the highest quality sea stone products. During the time when Kurozumi Orochi ruled Wano alongside Kaido, they controlled the sea stone production. They used it as a resource for their own purposes. The world government also obtained sea stone from Wano through various arrangements. The monopoly on sea stone mining gave Wano significant strategic importance. Dr. Vegapunk has conducted extensive research on sea stone. He discovered ways to manipulate its properties. Vegapunk created technology that uses sea stone more efficiently. His research advanced the understanding of how this mysterious mineral affects devil fruit powers. Moving on to how mantra in Skypiea is what the world later calls observation haki. Mantra and observation haki. In the Skypiea arc, the Straw Hat Pirates encountered a power called mantra. The priests and warriors of Skypiea used this ability. Mantra allowed them to sense the presence of others. They could predict movements before they happened. They could tell where attacks were coming from without seeing them. This gave them a significant advantage in combat. Enel was the most powerful user of mantra in Skypiea. He combined his mantra with his devil fruit powers. This combination let him sense everyone across the entire island. He could hear conversations from great distances. He knew what people were planning. His mantra was so advanced that it seemed almost impossible to surprise him. When the Straw Hat Pirates left Skypiea and continued their journey, they learned more about this power. They discovered that mantra was not unique to Skypiea. People in the Blue Sea also possessed this ability. However, they called it by a different name. They called it observation. Observation. Haki is one of the 3 types of haki that exist in the world. It allows users to sense the presence of others. Advanced users can predict their opponent's movements. Some people can see slightly into the future with very strong observation haki. The ability works the same way as mantra. They are simply different names for the identical power. The people of Skypiea had been isolated from the Blue Sea for hundreds of years. They developed their own terminology for this ability. They did not know that people below called it haki. Similarly, most people in the Blue Sea did not know that Skypiea existed. They had no knowledge that the Sky Island people called the power mantra. Rayleigh later explained haki to Luffy during his training. He confirmed that what Luffy experienced in Skypiea was indeed observation haki. The power had simply been given a different cultural name by the Skypieans. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to the 3 types of haki. The 3 types of haki. Haki is a mysterious power that exists within every living person in the One Piece world. However, most people never awaken this ability. Only through intense training or extreme circumstances do people unlock their haki. There are 3 distinct types of haki that people can develop. The first type is observation haki. This allows users to sense the presence of others around them. They can feel people's emotions and intentions. Advanced users can predict movements before they happen. The most skilled practitioners can even see brief glimpses of the future. Katakuri demonstrated this advanced level during his fight with Luffy. The second type is armament haki. This creates an invisible armor around the user's body. It significantly increases their defensive and offensive capabilities. Armament haki can also be projected onto weapons. This makes swords and other objects much more powerful. Most importantly, Armament Haki allows people to touch and hurt Devil Fruit users. Logia users normally cannot be harmed by physical attacks. However, Armament Haki bypasses this intangibility. It lets fighters damage even the most seemingly invincible opponents. The third type is Conqueror's Haki. This is the rarest form of Haki. Only one person in several million possesses this ability. Conqueror's Haki cannot be trained or learned. People are born with it, or they are not. This Haki allows users to impose their willpower on others. Weak-willed people immediately lose consciousness when exposed to Conqueror's Haki. Advanced users of Conqueror's Haki can do something extraordinary. They can infuse this power directly into their physical attacks. When Conqueror's Haki is infused into a punch or a weapon strike, it becomes devastatingly powerful. The user does not even need to make physical contact with their opponent. The infused Conqueror's Haki creates a powerful shockwave. Only the strongest fighters in the world can perform this technique. Kaido, Big Mom, Luffy, and Shanks have all demonstrated this ability. Moving on to Blackbeard's multiple devil fruits. Blackbeard's multiple devil fruits. Marshall D. Teach, known as Blackbeard, is completely unique in the One Piece world. He is the only known person who possesses more than one devil fruit power at the same time. This should be impossible, according to everything people understand about devil fruits. The established rule states that eating a second devil fruit causes the person's body to explode. They die instantly. Yet Blackbeard has broken this fundamental rule. Blackbeard originally ate the dark fruit, the Yami Yami no Mi. This Logia-type fruit gives him power over darkness. He can create and control darkness itself. He can also nullify other devil fruit powers by touching their users. He waited decades to obtain this specific fruit. He murdered his crewmate Thatch to steal it. After the Paramount War at Marineford, Blackbeard did something shocking. He went to the body of the recently deceased Whitebeard. Blackbeard covered himself and Whitebeard's corpse with a black cloth. Nobody could see what happened under that cloth. When Blackbeard emerged, he had somehow acquired Whitebeard's devil fruit power. He now possessed the Tremor fruit, the Gura no Mi. This Paramecia-type fruit allows him to create devastating earthquakes and shockwaves. Blackbeard demonstrated both powers immediately. He used darkness with one hand and earthquake powers with the other. The Marines and pirates watching were completely stunned. Marco and the other Whitebeard pirates could not believe what they were seeing. A person with two devil fruit abilities should not exist. The exact method Blackbeard used remains a complete mystery. Several characters have commented on this impossibility. Marco mentioned that Blackbeard's body has an unusual structure. He said, "Blackbeard is somehow different from normal people. This abnormality might explain why he can hold multiple devil fruit powers." However, no one has provided a definitive explanation. The secret of how Blackbeard accomplished this feat is still unknown to the world. Moving on to how, when a devil fruit user dies, the fruit's ability reappears somewhere in the world. Devil fruit reincarnation. Devil fruits are mysterious fruits that grant supernatural powers. Each devil fruit gives a unique ability to whoever eats it. The person gains incredible powers but loses the ability to swim. Seawater drains their strength completely. This trade-off makes devil fruits both valuable and dangerous. Every devil fruit is unique. Only one of each type exists in the world at any given time. No two people can have the same devil fruit power simultaneously. This makes each devil fruit extremely rare and valuable. Pirates and Marines search constantly for these fruits. When a devil fruit user dies, their power does not vanish forever. The devil fruit ability reincarnates into a new fruit somewhere in the world. A regular fruit nearby transforms into that specific devil fruit. The new fruit develops the same distinctive swirl patterns. It takes on the same shape and color as the original. Someone new can then find and eat this reincarnated fruit. Scientists have studied this reincarnation process. Caesar Clown conducted experiments on Punk Hazard. He had a creature named Smiley that had eaten the Sarah No Me model axolotl. Caesar placed a basket of apples near Smiley before it died. When Smiley died, one apple in the basket immediately transformed. It became the Sarah No Me model axolotl. This experiment proved that devil fruits reincarnate into nearby fruits. The Blackbeard pirates have learned to exploit this knowledge. They hunt down devil fruit users and kill them. They then capture the reincarnated fruits using unknown methods. When Absalom died, Shiryu obtained his clear fruit power. The Blackbeard pirates actively collect multiple devil fruit abilities this way. This reincarnation cycle means devil fruit powers are essentially eternal. The same abilities have existed for centuries. They pass from user to user across generations. Historical figures possessed the same devil fruits that exist today. Moving on to awakened Zoan Jailer beasts. Awakened Zoan Jailer beasts. Impel Down is the world government's maximum security prison. It sits in the calm belt between paradise and the New World. The prison descends through 6 levels underground. Each level holds increasingly dangerous criminals. The deepest level, level 6, contains prisoners whose very existence has been erased from history. The prison uses multiple security systems. Regular human guards patrol the corridors. Blue gorillas called Bluegori provide additional muscle. Surveillance Den Mushi monitor every corner. The prison also employs special guards called Jailer Beasts. The Jailer Beasts are massive humanoid creatures. Each one has animal characteristics mixed with human features. Minotaurus resembles a cow. Minor Rhinoceros looks like a rhinoceros. Minokoala has koala features. Minozebra appears as a zebra. These creatures primarily guard level 2, which is called Beast Hell. The Jailer Beasts carry huge weapons. They attack prisoners with overwhelming force. Their physical strength far exceeds normal humans. They can smash through walls and break bones with single strikes. Prisoners fear encountering these guards. The Jailer Beasts are actually awakened Zoan-type devil fruit users. Awakening represents an advanced stage of devil fruit mastery. Very few users ever achieve awakening. When a Zoan user awakens their fruit, their physical abilities increase dramatically. They gain incredible strength and speed. Most notably, they develop extreme durability and recovery powers. Crocodile identified the Jailer Beasts as awakened Zoans during the Impel Down breakout. He recognized their unusual toughness. The Jailer Beasts demonstrated this awakened resilience throughout multiple battles. Luffy and other prisoners struck them with powerful attacks. The creatures fell down repeatedly. However, they kept standing back up and continuing to fight. Their bodies recovered from damage incredibly fast. This exceptional durability is the hallmark of awakened Zoan users. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to Skypiea Dials. Skypiea Dials. Dials are special seashells found in the Sky Islands. These shells possess unique properties that allow them to store different types of energy. The people living on Sky Islands use dials for nearly everything. They have built their entire civilization's technology around these shells. Dials serve as tools, weapons, transportation devices, and recording equipment. Each type of dial stores a specific form of energy. Tone dials record and playback sounds. People use them to preserve conversations and music. They function like voice recorders. Vision dials capture and replay visual images. They work similarly to cameras. Breath dials store wind. Sky people use them to power their vehicles across the clouds. Wavers are small boats that use breath dials for propulsion. Jet dials are stronger versions that release more powerful wind blasts. Milky dials store cloud material. Sky people use these to create solid pathways through the air. Flash dials absorb and release light. They can temporarily blind enemies during combat. Flame dials store fire. People use them for cooking or as weapons. Heat dials preserve thermal energy. Impact dials are particularly dangerous. They absorb physical force from impacts. When activated, they release this stored kinetic energy as a powerful attack. Warriors use impact dials in battle. However, using an impact dial damages the user's own body. The force rebounds and causes injury. Reject dials are even more powerful than impact dials. They absorb and release far greater amounts of force. A reject dial can unleash devastating attacks. However, they cause severe damage to whoever uses them. Even one use can seriously injure or kill the user. Sky warriors only use reject dials in desperate situations. Usopp collected several dials during the Skypiea arc. He integrated them into his arsenal. He used impact dials and other dial-based attacks in later battles throughout the series. Moving on to Enel's Moon Adventure. Enel's Moon Adventure. After his defeat in Skypiea, Enel did not give up on his dreams. He had always believed he was destined to reach the fairy Verth. This was his name for the moon. Enel used his electrical powers to activate the Arc Maxim, his massive golden ship. The ship had been designed to fly to the moon. Despite being defeated by Luffy, Enel still had enough strength to complete his journey. Enel successfully traveled through space and reached the moon. This entire adventure was shown in a cover story series. Cover stories appear on the chapter title pages in the manga. They tell side stories that happen outside the main plot. Enel's Moon Adventure was one of these cover story arcs. When Enel arrived on the moon, he made incredible discoveries. The moon's surface was not empty. Ancient ruins covered parts of the lunar landscape. These ruins belonged to a civilization that existed long ago. The structures showed advanced architectural designs. They were far more sophisticated than most buildings in the Blue Sea. Enel also discovered automata on the moon. These were ancient robots, or mechanical beings. They had been inactive for a very long time. When Enel used his electrical powers, he accidentally reactivated some of these automata. The machines began moving again after centuries of dormancy. The ruins contained murals and artwork. These depicted a winged civilization that once lived on the moon. The ancient moon people had wings on their backs. They resembled the Skypieans, Shandians, and Birkins from the Sky Islands. This suggested a connection between the moon civilization and the Sky Island inhabitants. The murals showed that the ancient moon people eventually left the moon. They traveled down to the planet below. This implies that the winged people of the Sky Islands may be descendants of this ancient lunar civilization. Enel's journey revealed important historical information about the world's past. Moving on to the Golden Bell and Roger's Message. The Golden Bell and Roger's Message. Shandora was an ancient city that once existed on the island of Jaya. The city was known as the City of Gold. The Shandians were the people who lived there. They protected a very important object, a massive golden bell. This bell held great cultural and historical significance. It was not just valuable because of its gold. The bell represented the heart of Shandora. 400 years before the main story, a massive knock-up stream launched part of Jaya into the sky. The portion that flew upward included the ruins of Shandora and the Golden Bell. This section became part of the Sky Island, called Skypiea. The Shandians, who were carried into the sky, spent 4 centuries trying to reclaim their ancestral homeland. The Golden Bell sits at the top of the giant beanstalk in Skypiea. At its base lies a poneglyph. This is one of the ancient stone blocks that contain historical information. The poneglyphs are indestructible. They were created by the Kozuki clan of Wano country 800 years ago. This particular poneglyph contains information about the ancient weapon Poseidon. Gul D. Roger visited Skypiea during his final voyage. He reached the Golden Bell and read the poneglyph using his ability to hear the voice of all things. Roger left a message carved into the bell itself. His inscription stated that he came to this place and guided the text to its final destination. He signed his message with his name. Robin discovered Roger's message during the Skypiea arc. She was shocked to find evidence that the Pirate King had been there before. The inscription proved that Roger had successfully located and read many poneglyphs throughout his journey. His message on the Golden Bell showed his connection to the ancient texts. It demonstrated that he understood their importance and purpose. Moving on to the X-Mark strategy. The X-Mark strategy in Alabasta. During the Alabasta arc, the Straw Hat Pirates faced a dangerous enemy. Mr. Tubon Clay possessed the clone fruit. This devil fruit allowed him to transform into an exact copy of anyone he touched with his right hand. He could perfectly replicate their face, body, voice, and clothing. This ability made him incredibly dangerous for infiltration and deception. Mr. Two had touched the faces of several Straw Hat crew members. This meant he could impersonate them at any time. The crew realized this created a serious problem. During battle, they might accidentally attack their own crewmates. Mr. Two could transform into one of them and create chaos. The crew needed a way to identify each other. Luffy came up with a simple but effective solution. He suggested that each crew member tie a piece of cloth around their left arm. They would then mark an X on the cloth. This X mark would serve as their identification symbol. Everyone in the crew agreed to this plan. The X mark system worked perfectly. It was simple enough that anyone could recognize it immediately. The mark was visible from a distance. Most importantly, Mr. Two could not replicate it. Even though his clone fruit copied clothing, the X marks were added after he touched them. He had no way of knowing about this secret identification system. When the crew later encountered someone who looked like a crewmate, they checked for the X mark. If the person had the mark on their left arm, they were the real crew member. If they did not have the mark, they were Mr. 2 Inch's disguise. This allowed the Straw Hats to fight confidently, without worrying about friendly fire. The X-Mark strategy demonstrated the crew's ability to adapt. They found a creative solution to counter a Devil Fruit ability. This type of tactical thinking helped them survive against Baroque works. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to the Going Merry. The Going Merry. The Going Merry was the Straw Hat Pirates' first ship. It was a caravel-type vessel with a distinctive sheep figurehead on the front. The ship served as the crew's home during the early parts of their journey. They traveled from the East Blue through the Grand Line on this ship. Kaya was a wealthy young woman who lived in Syrup Village. She had been sick for a long time after her parents died. Usopp visited her regularly and told her stories to cheer her up. Kaya considered Usopp a dear friend. Her butler Klahadore was actually the pirate captain Kuro in disguise. He planned to kill Kaya and steal her fortune. The Straw Hat Pirates helped Usopp defeat Kuro and his crew. They saved Kaya's life. After the battle, Usopp decided to join Luffy and become a pirate. He needed to leave Syrup Village behind. Kaya wanted to give Usopp and his new friends a proper ship for their journey. Kaya owned a large estate with considerable wealth. She had the resources to commission a quality ship. The ship was designed by Mary, who worked as Kaya's butler. Mary created the plans and oversaw the construction. He designed the ship with a sheep figurehead because of his own appearance. Mary had sheep-like features with white, fluffy hair. Kaya gave the completed ship to the Straw Hat Pirates as a gift. She wanted to support Usopp's dreams. The ship was named the Going Merry after its designer. Merry himself was touched by this honor. The Going Merry carried the crew through many adventures. They sailed to Logetown, climbed Reverse Mountain, and visited Whiskey Peak, Little Garden, Drum Island, Alabasta, Jaya, Skypiea, Long Ring Longland, Water 7, and Annie's Lobby. The ship eventually sustained too much damage to continue. The crew gave the Going Merry a Viking funeral at Annie's Lobby. They said goodbye to their first ship with tears and gratitude. Moving on to the Thousand Sunny. The Thousand Sunny. After the Going Merry could no longer sail, the Straw Hat Pirates needed a new ship. They were at Water 7, an island famous for shipbuilding. The city contained the best shipwrights in the world. Frankie was a shipwright who had helped the crew during their battles at Annie's Lobby. Luffy invited Frankie to join the crew as their shipwright. Frankie accepted the invitation. His first major task was building a new ship for the crew. Frankie wanted to create the best ship possible. He needed the finest materials available. The strongest wood in the world is called Treasure Tree Atom. This wood is incredibly rare and expensive. Ships built from atom wood are nearly indestructible. They can withstand tremendous damage. Frankie had money saved from his years in Water 7. He used 200 million berry to purchase atom wood. This represented a massive amount of money. The wood's extreme rarity justified this enormous cost. With this precious material, Frankie could build a ship that would last forever. Frankie designed and constructed the Thousand Sunny. The ship is a brigantine sloop-type vessel. It has a lion figurehead on the front. The ship is larger than the Going Merry. It contains multiple specialized rooms and features. There is a library, an aquarium, a large bathroom, and individual sleeping quarters. The ship also has a lawn deck with grass. The Thousand Sunny has many unique features. It can use the coup de burst system to launch into the air. The ship has a soldier dock system that contains various vehicles. The Mini Mary 2, the Shark Submerge 3, and the Kurosai FRUIV are stored inside. The Gaon cannon serves as a powerful weapon. The Thousand Sunny represents Frankie's masterpiece. The ship has carried the Straw Hat Pirates through the second half of the Grand Line. It has survived battles against emperors and marines. The atom wood construction has proven its worth repeatedly. Moving on to Sabaody Archipelago's Bubbles. Sabaody Archipelago's Bubbles. The Sabaody Archipelago is a unique location in the One Piece world. It sits near the Red Line at the end of the first half of the Grand Line. Pirates who want to reach the New World must stop at Sabaody. The island serves as a gathering point before the journey continues. Sabaody is not a traditional island. It consists of massive mangrove trees growing from the ocean floor. These trees are called Yarukiman mangroves. The roots of these enormous trees break through the water's surface. They cluster together to form the landmass that people call Sabaody Archipelago. The entire area rests on these gigantic tree roots. The Yarukiman mangroves produce a special resin. This resin naturally secretes from the roots of the trees. When this resin emerges into the air, it creates bubbles. These bubbles are unique to Sabaody. They float upward from the roots constantly. The entire archipelago is filled with bubbles of various sizes. The bubbles have special properties. They can support weight despite being made of resin. People can stand on the bubbles and ride them. The residents of Sabaody use bubbles for transportation. They create bubble bikes and bubble gondolas. These vehicles allow people to move around the archipelago efficiently. The bubbles only exist near the Yarukiman mangroves. If a bubble travels too far from the trees, it pops. This limits how far the bubbles can be used. They cannot function once they leave the immediate area of Sabaody. The resin-based composition requires proximity to the mangroves. Some bubbles are stronger than others. Coating bubbles are special bubbles used to coat ships. This coating allows ships to dive underwater and travel to Fishman Island. The coating process requires skilled craftsmen called coating mechanics. Rayleigh is one of the most skilled coating mechanics on Sabaody. Moving on to how Shanks ends the Paramount War. Shanks ends the Paramount War. The Paramount War at Marineford was one of the largest battles in One Piece history. The conflict began when the Marines publicly executed Portgas D. Ace. Whitebeard brought his entire fleet to rescue Ace. Dozens of pirate crews and thousands of Marines fought on the battlefield. The war resulted in countless deaths on both sides. Whitebeard died during the battle. Ace also died protecting Luffy from Admiral Akainu. After these deaths, the fighting continued. Blackbeard appeared and stole Whitebeard's devil fruit power. The Marines pressed their advantage against the remaining Whitebeard pirates. The situation became increasingly chaotic and desperate. Admiral Akainu pursued Luffy relentlessly. He wanted to kill Luffy because of his bloodline and potential. Kobe, a young Marine, stood in Akainu's way. He begged for the fighting to stop. He said that continuing the battle was pointless. Every second wasted more lives. Akainu prepared to kill Kobe for this interference. At that moment, Shanks arrived at Marineford. He blocked Akainu's attack and saved Kobe's life. Shanks stated that he had come to end the war. His presence immediately changed the atmosphere. Shanks was one of the 4 emperors. His arrival meant that continuing the battle would escalate into an even larger conflict. Shanks spoke to both sides. He said, enough blood had been spilled. He proposed that both sides stop fighting and withdraw. Fleet Admiral Sengoku agreed to Shanks's proposal. Sengoku officially declared the war over. The Marines accepted this outcome. They did not want to fight both the Whitebeard pirates and the Red Hair pirates simultaneously. Shanks took responsibility for Whitebeard's and Ace's bodies. He ensured they received proper burials. The war officially ended with Shanks's intervention. His reputation and power were enough to stop the conflict. Both sides respected his authority. The Paramount War concluded without further bloodshed. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to the Tremor fruit. The Tremor fruit, the Gura Gura no Mi, is a paramecia-type devil fruit. In English, it is called the Tremor fruit. This devil fruit is considered one of the most powerful in existence. It grants the user the ability to create earthquakes and tremors. The user can generate vibrations and shockwaves at will. These vibrations can affect the air, ground, and sea. Edward Newgate, known as Whitebeard, possessed this devil fruit for decades. He was recognized as the strongest man in the world. Much of his fearsome reputation came from his devil fruit ability. Whitebeard could cause massive destruction with simple gestures. He demonstrated this power repeatedly during the Paramount War at Marineford. At Marineford, Whitebeard used his powers on an unprecedented scale. He created earthquakes that shook the entire island. He tilted the ocean itself by generating massive tremors. Enormous tsunamis formed from his attacks. The waves threatened to destroy marine headquarters. Only the admirals, using their powers together, could stop these tsunamis from flooding the island. Whitebeard could focus his vibrations into concentrated attacks. He punched the air and created cracks in space itself. These cracks represented the vibrations spreading through the atmosphere. The shock waves from these attacks devastated everything in their path. Buildings crumbled. The ground split apart. Marine soldiers were thrown through the air. He could also channel the vibrations into his weapon. Whitebeard wielded a massive Bicento, a type of polearm. When he combined his weapon with his devil fruit power, his attacks became even more destructive. He could strike objects and make them shatter from internal vibrations. After Whitebeard died, Blackbeard somehow stole the Gura Gura no Mi power. Blackbeard now possesses both the Yami Yami no Mi and the Gura Gura no Mi. He has demonstrated the earthquake powers multiple times. The Tremor fruit remains one of the most dangerous abilities in the world. It has the potential to destroy entire islands. Moving on to the Celestial Dragons. Celestial Dragons. The Celestial Dragons are called Tenryubito in Japanese. This translates to Heavenly Dragon Folk. They are the world's most privileged social class. The Celestial Dragons live in Mary-Geoise, the Holy Land located at the top of the Red Line. They never leave this location except for rare occasions. The Celestial Dragons are descendants of the 20 royal families who founded the world government. 800 years ago, these 20 kingdoms united to form the current government. 19 of these families moved to Mary-Geoise. Only the Nefertari family chose to remain in their homeland of Alabasta. The families who moved to Mary-Geoise became the Celestial Dragons. Celestial Dragons consider themselves superior to all other humans. They believe they are gods living among mortals. They wear special bubble helmets over their heads. These bubbles contain air from Mary-Geoise. The Celestial Dragons refuse to breathe the same air as common people. The bubble helmets symbolize their separation from the rest of humanity. The Celestial Dragons possess absolute authority. They can do whatever they want without consequences. If anyone harms or disrespects a Celestial Dragon, a Marine Admiral is immediately dispatched. The world government protects them completely. Regular people must kneel when a Celestial Dragon passes by. Failure to kneel is considered a serious offense. Celestial Dragons own slaves. They purchase people at slave auctions and force them to serve. The slaves wear explosive collars around their necks. If they try to escape, the collars explode and kill them. The Celestial Dragons treat these slaves as property rather than people. Most Celestial Dragons are cruel and ignorant. They have never experienced hardship. They know nothing about the real world. They spend their lives in luxury and entertainment. Some Celestial Dragons are less cruel than others, but most abuse their power freely. The system protects them from any punishment or accountability for their actions. Moving on to the abolishment of the 7 warlords. Abolishment of the 7 warlords. The 7 warlords of the sea were a powerful organization within the world government structure. They were also called the Shichibukai. These were 7 pirates who made agreements with the world government. The government allowed them to keep their pirate crews and activities. In exchange, the warlords gave a portion of their treasure to the government. They also assisted the Marines when required. The warlords served as one of the 3 great powers. These powers maintained balance in the world. The other 2 powers were the Marine headquarters and the 4 emperors. This balance prevented any single force from dominating the seas. The Reverie is a global council meeting. Representatives from 50 kingdoms gather at Mary-Geoise every 4 years. They discuss world issues and make important decisions. The reverie that occurred during the current story timeline brought major changes. King Cobra of Alabasta and King Riku of Dressrosa both spoke against the warlord system. Their kingdoms had suffered because of warlords. Crocodile had attempted to destroy Alabasta. Doflamingo had enslaved Dressrosa for years. Both of these criminals held warlord positions. Their status protected them from marine interference while they committed atrocities. The representatives at the reverie voted on the issue. They decided to completely abolish the Seven Warlords system. This decision immediately stripped all current warlords of their protected status. Mihawk, Buggy, Weevil, and Hancock all lost their positions. They became regular pirates again. The Marines could now hunt them freely. The government sent Marines to capture the former warlords immediately after the vote. They dispatched forces to each former warlord's known location. This created chaos as powerful pirates suddenly became targets. Some former warlords fought back. Others fled. Buggy formed the Cross Guild organization with Mihawk and Crocodile. The abolishment of the warlord system removed one of the three great powers. This fundamentally changed the world's power structure. The balance that had existed for decades was broken. Moving on to Smoker's false credit for Crocodile. Smoker's false credit for Crocodile. Sir Crocodile was one of the seven warlords of the sea. He presented himself as a hero in Alabasta. The people trusted him. However, Crocodile was secretly plotting to overthrow the kingdom. He wanted to steal the ancient weapon Pluton. He spent years manipulating events to create a civil war. His criminal organization, Baroque Works, carried out his plans. Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates discovered Crocodile's conspiracy. They fought to stop him and save Alabasta. Luffy battled Crocodile 3 times. He lost the first 2 battles. During their final confrontation underground, Luffy finally defeated Crocodile. This victory saved the kingdom and exposed Crocodile's crimes. The world government faced an embarrassing situation. One of their official warlords had attempted to destroy a member kingdom. This made the government look incompetent. They had given Crocodile protection and authority. He used this position to commit terrible crimes. The government needed to control the narrative. The world government decided to cover up Luffy's involvement. They could not publicly credit a pirate with saving a kingdom. This would make pirates look heroic. It would damage the government's reputation further. They needed a Marine to receive credit instead. Captain Smoker was a Marine officer who had been in Alabasta. The government officially announced that Smoker had defeated Crocodile. Newspapers reported this false story worldwide. Smoker received recognition and a promotion to Commodore. The public believed that the Marines had stopped Crocodile's plot. Smoker was furious about this lie. He knew the truth. Luffy had defeated Crocodile, not him. Smoker refused to accept credit for something he did not do. However, his superiors ignored his protests. The government maintained the false narrative. Smoker's promotion stood despite his objections. This cover-up was part of a pattern. The world government repeatedly hid the Straw Hat Pirates' heroic actions. They could not allow pirates to appear as heroes. This propaganda protected the government's image and authority. Moving on to Roger's execution and the Great Pirate Era. Roger's execution and the Great Pirate Era. Goldie. Roger was the king of the pirates. He accomplished what no one else had ever done. He sailed through the entire Grand Line. He reached the final island, which he named Laugh Tale. He discovered the truth about the world's history. Roger learned secrets that the world government wanted to remain hidden. Roger suffered from an incurable illness. He knew he would die soon. He decided to turn himself in to the world government. The government captured Roger and sentenced him to public execution. They wanted to make an example of him. They planned to show the world that piracy would not be tolerated. The execution took place in Logetown. This town is located in the East Blue. It sits near the entrance to the Grand Line. The government chose this location deliberately. They wanted as many people as possible to witness Roger's death. Crowds gathered in the town square. People came from all over to see the Pirate King's final moments. Roger knelt on the execution platform. 2 executioners stood ready with long spears. Before they could kill him, someone from the crowd shouted a question. They asked Roger about his legendary treasure. They wanted to know if the One Piece was real. Roger smiled. He shouted his response to the entire crowd. He confirmed that his treasure existed. He said he had left everything he owned in one place. He told people to go find it if they wanted it. These were Roger's last words before the executioners killed him. Roger's words had an immediate and profound effect. His statement inspired countless people to become pirates. They all wanted to find the One Piece. They wanted Roger's treasure and freedom. The number of pirates increased dramatically, almost overnight. This moment marked the beginning of the Great Pirate Era. The era continues to the present day in the story. Roger's execution, intended to discourage piracy, instead created more pirates than ever before. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to Oars, the Continent Puller. Oars, the Continent Puller. Oars was an ancient giant who lived hundreds of years ago. He was not a regular giant. Oars belonged to a special race called the Ancient Giants. Ancient giants were much larger than normal giants. They possessed tremendous strength that exceeded even the powerful giant warriors of Elbaf. Oars earned the legendary title, the Continent Puller. This name came from his incredible feats of strength. According to legends, Oars moved entire landmasses. He pulled islands and continents from their original locations. He reshaped geography through his physical power alone. These stories spread across the world and became part of history. Oars died long before the current story timeline. However, his body was preserved in a frozen state. The corpse remained intact for centuries in an icy region. Gecko Moria, one of the 7 warlords, discovered Oars's preserved body. Moria specialized in creating zombies using his shadow fruit power. Moria decided to use Oars's body for his zombie army. He needed a shadow to animate the corpse. Moria chose Luffy's shadow for this purpose. He cut Luffy's shadow from his body and implanted it into Oars's corpse. The ancient giant awakened as a zombie under Moria's control. Zombie Oars retained the giant's enormous strength. He also gained Luffy's fighting techniques and personality traits. This combination made him extremely dangerous. Oars attacked the Straw Hat Pirates during the Thriller Bark arc. The entire crew had to work together to defeat him. Even as a zombie, Oars demonstrated the terrifying power that made him legendary. Oars had descendants. Little Oars Jr. was his descendant. Little Oars Jr. appeared during the Paramount War at Marineford. Despite being called little, he was still massive compared to normal giants. He was a friend and ally of Ace. Little Oars Jr. fought against the Marines to help rescue Ace from execution. Moving on to Punk Hazard's Split Climate. Punk Hazard's Split Climate. Punk Hazard is an island in the New World. It previously served as a research facility for the world government. Dr. Vegapunk conducted scientific experiments there. The island had normal geography and climate originally. However, a major event completely transformed the entire island. After the Paramount War ended, the position of Fleet Admiral became vacant. Sengoku had announced his retirement. The world government needed to select a new fleet admiral. 2 admirals were the primary candidates. Aokiji and Akainu both wanted the position. They had very different views on justice and how the Marines should operate. The world government decided that the 2 admirals should fight each other. The winner would become the new fleet admiral. This duel would determine the future direction of the Marines. The government selected Punk Hazard as the location for this battle. Aokiji possessed the ice fruit. This Logia-type devil fruit gave him complete control over ice. He could freeze anything instantly. Akainu possessed the magma fruit. This Logia-type devil fruit gave him control over magma and lava. He could generate extreme heat. The battle between these 2 admirals lasted for 10 days. Both fighters pushed their devil fruit powers to the absolute limit. Aokiji unleashed massive amounts of ice across half the island. Everything on that side became frozen. Temperatures dropped to extreme cold. Akainu released enormous quantities of magma on the other half. That side became a burning wasteland. Temperatures rose to unbearable heat. Their prolonged battle permanently altered the island's climate. One half of Punk Hazard became a frozen tundra. Snow and ice cover everything constantly. The other half became a volcanic hellscape. Lava and fire dominate that side. A clear dividing line separates these 2 extreme environments. Akainu ultimately won the duel. He became the new fleet admiral. Aokiji left the Marines after his defeat. Punk Hazard remains split between ice and fire to this day. Moving on to Fishman Island's location. Fishman Island's location. Fishman Island is the home of the Fishmen and Merfolk races. It sits in a unique location within the One Piece world. The island is located 10,000 meters below sea level. It rests on the ocean floor beneath the Red Line. The Red Line is the massive continent that divides the world's oceans. Fishman Island sits directly under the section of the Red Line where Mary Geoise stands above. The island exists inside a giant double-layered bubble. This bubble protects the island and allows sunlight to reach it. Without this bubble, the island would be completely dark. A massive tree called the Sunlight Tree Eve grows near the island. This tree's roots extend down to Fishman Island. The tree transmits sunlight from the surface down to the depths. This allows light to reach the island, despite its extreme depth. Pirates who want to reach the New World must pass through Fishman Island. It serves as the gateway between the first half of the Grand Line and the second half. However, reaching the island presents major challenges. Ships cannot simply sail down to that depth. The water pressure would crush normal vessels immediately. Ships require special coating to reach Fishman Island. This coating is made from the bubble resin of Sabaody Archipelago. Skilled coating mechanics apply layers of resin bubbles to the entire ship. This coating creates a protective bubble around the vessel. The bubble allows the ship to dive underwater safely. The coated ship can descend through the ocean depths. The journey takes time as the ship sinks deeper. Pirates must be careful during this descent. Sea kings inhabit these waters. The massive creatures can attack ships traveling through their territory. Once ships reach Fishman Island, they enter through a designated entrance. The island has underwater passages that lead inside the protective bubble. After entering, ships surface within the island's air-filled interior. The coating is no longer needed once inside. Ships can sail normally within Fishman Island's waters. Moving on to Sanji's Blackleg style. Sanji's Blackleg style. Sanji is the chef of the Straw Hat Pirates. He fights exclusively using his legs. He never uses his hands in combat. Sanji keeps his hands reserved for cooking only. His fighting style is called Blackleg style. This martial arts technique focuses entirely on powerful kicks. Sanji learned this fighting style from Zeph. Zeph was a pirate captain who sailed the Grand Line many years ago. He earned the nickname Red Leg Zeph. This name came from his fighting technique. Zeph's legs would become stained red with the blood of his enemies after battles. His kick-based fighting style made him famous and feared. Sanji and Zeph met under tragic circumstances. Young Sanji was working on a cruise ship as a cook. Zeph's pirate crew attacked this ship. During the attack, a massive storm hit. Both Sanji and Zeph were thrown into the ocean. They washed up on a barren rock in the middle of the sea. No ships passed by. No food existed on the rock. The two were stranded together for 85 days. They had almost no food. Zeph gave all the food to Sanji. He kept only a small bag for himself. When Sanji finally looked in Zeph's bag, he discovered it contained only treasure, not food. Zeph had actually eaten his own leg to survive. He sacrificed himself to keep Sanji alive. A ship eventually rescued them. Zeph and Sanji opened a restaurant together. They called it the Baratie. It was a floating restaurant on the ocean. During their time together, Zeph taught Sanji everything he knew. He trained Sanji in the black leg fighting style. He also taught him advanced cooking techniques. Sanji developed his skills over many years at the Baratie. He modified the black leg style with his own variations. When Sanji joined the Straw Hat Pirates, he brought these powerful kicking techniques with him. Sanji's fighting style directly traces back to Red Leg Zeph's original martial arts. Moving on to Robin's childhood bounty. Robin's childhood bounty. Nico Robin was born on the island of Ohara. Ohara was famous for its massive library called the Tree of Knowledge. The island's scholars dedicated their lives to studying history. Robin's mother was one of these scholars. However, the scholars were secretly researching the Forbidden Void Century. The world government strictly prohibited this research. Robin was only 8 years old when the world government discovered Ohara's illegal studies. They ordered a buster call to destroy the entire island. 10 battleships bombarded Ohara with overwhelming firepower. The island was completely annihilated. Almost every person on Ohara died that day. The world government considered Robin extremely dangerous despite her young age. She had learned to read the ancient poneglyph language from the Ohara scholars. This ability made her a threat to the government. The poneglyphs contained information about the Void Century. The government wanted this history to remain secret forever. Anyone who could read poneglyphs endangered their control. The government issued Robin her first bounty immediately after Ohara's destruction. She was only 8 years old. Her bounty was 79 million berry. This was an enormous amount for any pirate. It was unprecedented for a child. The bounty showed how seriously the government viewed Robin's threat level. The government accused Robin of destroying 6 marine battleships. This was false. They fabricated this charge to justify hunting her. The real reason for her bounty was her ability to read poneglyphs. However, the government could not publicly state this reason. Doing so would reveal the existence and importance of the poneglyphs. Robin spent the next 20 years running and hiding. She was hunted constantly because of her bounty. She joined various pirate crews and criminal organizations to survive. She trusted no one completely. Robin lived in fear and isolation for 2 decades. She finally found true companionship when she joined the Straw Hat Pirates. Moving on to Rock D. Xebec and God Valley. Rocks D. Xebec and God Valley. Rocks D. Xebec was a legendary pirate captain who lived decades before the current story. He commanded the Rocks Pirates. This crew was considered the most dangerous pirate organization of their era. They were far more threatening than any other pirate crew at that time. The Rocks pirates included many individuals who later became extremely famous. Edward Newgate, who became Whitebeard, was a member. Charlotte Linlin, who became Big Mom, was also part of the crew. Kaido, who later ruled Wano, served under Rocks. Shiki the Golden Lion was another member. Captain John was there as well. Even a young Buckingham Stussy joined the crew. These future powerhouses all sailed under Rocks D. Xebec command. Rocks D. Xebec had dangerous ambitions. He wanted to become the king of the world. He aimed to overthrow the world government itself. His goals directly threatened the celestial dragons and their authority. The world government considered him their greatest enemy. A major incident occurred at a place called God Valley. The details of this event remain mostly unknown. However, something happened there that required immediate response. Monkey D. Garp, a Marine officer, was present at God Valley. Goldie Roger, who was not yet Pirate King, was also there. These two enemies temporarily allied against a common threat. Garp and Roger fought together against the Rocks pirates. They defeated Rocks D. Xebec and destroyed his crew. This battle ended the Rocks pirates' reign of terror. The crew disbanded after their captain's defeat. The individual members went their separate ways. They eventually became some of the most powerful pirates in the world. After the God Valley incident, the world government took extreme measures. They completely erased Rocks D. Xebec from history. They removed all records of him. They destroyed the island of God Valley itself. The location no longer exists on any maps. The government wanted to eliminate all evidence of Rocks and the incident. Very few people today know anything about Rocks D. Xebec, or what happened at God Valley. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to Brook's Devil Fruit. Brook's Devil Fruit and Lost Years. Brook is the musician of the Straw Hat Pirates. He is a living skeleton. This unusual condition resulted from his devil fruit power. Brook ate the Yomi Yomi no Mi, which translates to the Revive fruit. This devil fruit grants a single specific ability. It allows the user's soul to return to their body after they die. Brook was originally part of a different pirate crew called the Rumbar Pirates. His crew sailed through the Grand Line decades before the current story. They encountered enemies who used poisoned weapons. The entire crew was killed by this poison. Brook died along with his crewmates. Brook's soul left his body after death. The Yomi Yomi no Mi activated. His soul began traveling back to find his corpse. However, Brook's soul wandered, lost in the dense fog of the Florian Triangle. This region is famous for its thick mist. Ships disappear there regularly. Brook's soul drifted through this fog for a long time. By the time his soul finally found his body, a full year had passed. When Brook's soul returned, his body had already decayed completely. Only his skeleton remained. His soul entered the skeleton and reanimated it. Brook came back to life as a living skeleton. His afro hairstyle was still intact because hair continues growing after death. Brook discovered he was alone. His entire crew was dead. Their bodies had already decomposed. Brook remained trapped on his ship in the Florian Triangle for 50 years. He could not escape the fog and dangerous waters. He spent decades completely alone. The isolation drove him nearly insane. He talked to himself constantly. He practiced his music to maintain his sanity. The Straw Hat Pirates eventually found Brook during their journey. Luffy immediately invited him to join the crew. Brook finally escaped his decades of loneliness. He became the crew's musician and brought music back into his life. Moving on to Binks's Sake Song. Binks's Sake Song. Binks Sake is an old pirate song in the One Piece world. The song has existed for generations. Many pirate crews know it. Pirates sing it during celebrations and gatherings. The song talks about sailing the seas and the journey of pirates. It carries themes of adventure, friendship, and saying goodbye to fallen comrades. The Rumbar Pirates sang this song regularly. It was their crew's favorite song. Brook played it on his violin while his crewmates sang. They performed this song many times during their voyage. When the Rumbar Pirates were dying from poison, they made a final decision. They chose to spend their last moments performing Binks' Sake together. Brook recorded this final performance on a tone dial. This recording became incredibly important to Brook. It was the only remaining evidence that his crew had existed. The tone dial contained their voices and music. Brook protected this recording for 50 years. It represented his connection to his lost friends. Laboon the whale also knew Binks' Sake. Laboon had traveled with the Rumbar Pirates before they entered the Grand Line. The crew sang the song to Laboon many times. When they left Laboon at Reverse Mountain, they promised to return. Laboon has waited ever since. The whale still recognizes the song. Brook performed Binks' Sake for the Straw Hat Pirates. Luffy and the crew heard the song and enjoyed it. Later, Brook played the recorded version from the tone dial. The crew listened to the Rumbar Pirates' final performance. They heard the voices of Brook's dead crewmates. This emotional moment showed the song's deep significance. The song appears multiple times throughout the story. Different characters perform or reference it. Binks' Sake serves as a connection between past and present pirates. It represents the inherited will and bonds that transcend death. The song embodies the spirit of adventure that drives pirates forward. Moving on to Katakuri's future sight. Katakuri's future sight. Charlotte Katakuri is one of Big Mom's sons. He serves as one of her sweet commanders. Katakuri is an extremely powerful fighter. He possesses multiple abilities that make him formidable. His most dangerous ability is his highly advanced observation haki. Observation haki allows users to sense the presence of others. Basic users can detect people nearby. They can feel emotions and intentions. More skilled users can predict movements before they happen. They anticipate attacks and react accordingly. However, Katakuri has developed this ability far beyond the normal level. Katakuri can see into the future. His observation haki is so advanced that he glimpses what will happen moments before it occurs. He sees brief visions of future events. This ability gives him an overwhelming advantage in combat. He knows what his opponent will do before they do it. During his fight with Luffy, Katakuri demonstrated this power repeatedly. He saw Luffy's attacks before Luffy threw them. He dodged techniques that had not happened yet. He countered moves before they started. Katakuri could see several seconds into the future. This made him appear completely untouchable. Katakuri also used this ability to protect his family. He foresaw danger coming to his crew. He warned others about threats before they materialized. During the tea party at Whole Cake Island, Katakuri saw a future vision of disaster. He witnessed a future where someone attacked his mother. He took action to prevent this future from occurring. Luffy struggled against Katakuri's future sight. Every strategy Luffy tried, Katakuri had already seen. The fight pushed Luffy to improve his own observation haki. Luffy eventually began developing his own ability to see the future. By the end of their battle, Luffy started catching glimpses of future moments. Katakuri's advanced ability forced Luffy to evolve and reach a higher level of haki mastery. Moving on to Vivre cards. Vivre cards. Vivre cards are special pieces of paper in the One Piece world. They are made from a person's fingernail clippings. A skilled craftsman processes these clippings to create the card. The card becomes permanently connected to the person whose fingernail was used. This connection remains active as long as that person lives. Vivre cards have two important properties. First, they always point toward the person they represent. No matter where the card is located, it will indicate the direction of its owner. The card piece moves and shifts to show which way to go. This makes Vivre cards extremely useful for finding people across vast distances. Pirates use them to locate their crewmates. Friends use them to reunite after being separated. Second, Vivre cards reflect the life force of their owner. When the person is healthy and strong, the card remains intact and sturdy. If the person becomes injured or sick, the card responds. It begins to burn and shrink. The more danger the person faces, the smaller the card becomes. If the person is near death, the card burns down to almost nothing. When the person recovers their health, the Vivre card also recovers. It stops burning and returns to its normal size. The card never disappears completely unless the person dies. If someone dies, their Vivre card burns away entirely. Nothing remains. This indicates that the person's life has ended. People can tear Vivre cards into smaller pieces. Each piece retains the same properties as the whole card. All pieces point toward the owner. All pieces reflect the owner's life force. This allows one person to distribute many pieces to different people. Everyone holding a piece can find the owner. Ace gave Luffy a piece of his Vivre card. During the Paramount War, Luffy watched Ace's Vivre card shrink as Ace was injured and dying. The card burning away showed Luffy that Ace was in terrible danger. When Ace died, the card burned completely. Moving on to Trafalgar Law's true nature. Trafalgar Law's true name. Trafalgar Law is the captain of the Heart Pirates. He is a skilled doctor and a powerful fighter. Law possesses the Ope Ope no Mi, the Ope Op fruit. This devil fruit gives him surgical abilities. He can manipulate anything within his created space. Law has a bounty and is considered a dangerous pirate by the world government. Law's full name contains a secret. His complete name is Trafalgar D. Waterlaw. The D in his name is extremely significant. People who carry the D in their names are called the D Clan or the Will of D. The world government fears people with the D initial. These individuals often oppose the government and cause major disruptions. Law hid his D initial for most of his life. He kept this part of his identity secret. Very few people knew about the D in his name. Law understood that revealing this information would make him an even bigger target. The world government actively hunts people with the D. Law comes from the country of Flevance. This nation was destroyed by a disease called Amber Lead Syndrome. The government and surrounding countries abandoned Flevance. They blockaded it and left everyone inside to die. Law was a child when this happened. He watched his family, friends, and entire country perish. He barely escaped the doomed nation. Law eventually revealed his full name to Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates. He trusted them enough to share this secret. Luffy also has the D in his name. Many important characters throughout the story carry this initial. Goldie, Roger, Monkey D, Garp, Monkey D, Dragon, Portgas, D, Ace, and Marshall D, Teach, all have the D. The true meaning of the D remains mysterious. However, it connects these individuals through history. They are linked by destiny and inherited will. Law's D places him among these historically significant people. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to Corazon's true identity. Corazon's true identity. Don Quixote Rocinante was the younger brother of Don Quixote do Flamingo. Both brothers were born as celestial dragons. Their father gave up the family's status and moved them to the surface world. The family faced terrible persecution. People tortured them for being former celestial dragons. Rocinante's mother died from illness and mistreatment. Doflamingo eventually killed their father out of anger and frustration. After their father's death, the two brothers separated. Doflamingo returned to marry Gioaz, but was rejected. He then formed his own pirate crew and began criminal activities. Rocinante took a completely different path. He was found and adopted by Sengoku, who was a marine officer. Sengoku raised Rocinante and trained him. Rocinante became a marine and dedicated himself to justice. Rocinante took on a secret mission. He went undercover within Doflamingo's pirate crew. He pretended to be mute and acted clumsy and foolish. He took the codename Corazon, which was his position within the crew. Doflamingo trusted him because Rocinante was his brother. Rocinante sent information to the Marines about Doflamingo's illegal activities. His goal was to stop his brother's crimes from the inside. Trafalgar Law joined Doflamingo's crew as a child. Law was sick with Amber Lead syndrome. He was angry and wanted to destroy everything. Rocinante initially disliked Law because the child reminded him of his brother. However, Rocinante eventually learned about Law's tragic past. His feelings changed completely. Rocinante decided to save Law's life. He abandoned his marine mission. He took Law away from Doflamingo's crew. They traveled together, searching for hospitals that would treat Law's disease. Every hospital rejected them. Rocinante finally stole the Op no Mi for Law. This devil fruit had the power to cure him. Doflamingo discovered Rocinante's betrayal. He shot and killed his own brother. Before dying, Rocinante used his devil fruit power to hide Law. He saved Law's life with his final actions. Rocinante's sacrifice gave Law the chance to survive and eventually become a pirate captain. Moving on to the Alabasta Poneglyph. The Alabasta Poneglyph. Poneglyphs are indestructible stone blocks created 800 years ago. The Kozuki clan of Wano country made them. These stones contain information written in an ancient language. Very few people can read this language. The world government forbids anyone from studying or reading poneglyphs. They consider this research a serious crime. There are different types of poneglyphs. Some contain historical information about the Void Century. Others contain information about the ancient weapons. The ancient weapons are 3 legendary devices with enormous destructive power. They are named Pluton, Poseidon, and Uranus. The world government fears these weapons greatly. A poneglyph exists in Alabasta. It is hidden beneath the kingdom in a secret location. The poneglyph sits in an underground chamber beneath the royal palace. The Nefertari family has protected this poneglyph for generations. They are the royal family of Alabasta. They have guarded this stone for 800 years. This specific poneglyph contains information about Pluton. Pluton is one of the 3 ancient weapons. It is a massive warship with incredible destructive capability. A single shot from Pluton can destroy an entire island. The poneglyph reveals where Pluton is located. It provides clues about finding this dangerous weapon. Crocodile wanted to obtain this information. His entire plot in Alabasta centered on finding the poneglyph. He planned to overthrow the kingdom and locate the stone. He wanted to use Pluton for his own purposes. However, Crocodile could not read the ancient language himself. He needed Nico Robin to translate it for him. Robin read the poneglyph when she reached it. She learned what it said about Pluton. However, Robin lied to Crocodile about its contents. She refused to help him find the ancient weapon. Robin understood how dangerous this information was. She kept Pluton's location secret from Crocodile. The Alabasta poneglyph remains in its hidden chamber. The Nefertari family continues to protect it from those who would misuse its information. Moving on to Sea Kings and Prophecy. Sea Kings and Prophecy. Sea kings are massive sea creatures that inhabit the oceans. They are the largest living creatures in the One Piece world. Sea kings can grow to enormous sizes. Some are as large as islands. These creatures are extremely dangerous. They can easily destroy ships. Most sailors fear encountering sea kings during voyages. Sea kings possess intelligence. They are not simple animals. They can think and communicate with each other. However, humans cannot normally hear or understand their communication. Sea kings speak in their own way. Only certain people with special abilities can hear them. During the Fishman Island arc, several sea kings gathered near the island. They had a conversation with each other. The Straw Hat Pirates were present but could not hear what the Sea Kings were saying. However, the Sea Kings were discussing something important. They spoke about prophecy and destiny. The Sea Kings mentioned two important figures. They spoke about their kings being born. They referred to beings that would appear in different eras. One king had been born in the ancient past. Another king was being born in the present time. The Sea Kings believed these individuals would eventually meet. The Sea Kings were actually discussing Poseidon. Poseidon is one of the three ancient weapons. Unlike Pluton, which is a ship, Poseidon is not an object. Poseidon is a person. Specifically, Poseidon is a mermaid princess who has the power to command all Sea Kings. This ability appears once every few centuries within the royal family of Fishman Island. Princess Shirahoshi is the current Poseidon. She possesses the ability to communicate with and command Sea Kings. The Sea Kings were talking about her when they mentioned their king being born. Shirahoshi does not fully understand her power yet. She has not learned to control it. However, the Sea Kings already recognize her as their sovereign. They will obey her commands when she calls upon them. Moving on to Momonosuke and Zunisha. Momonosuke and Zunisha. Momonosuke is the son of Kozuki Oden. He is the rightful heir to the position of shogun of Wano country. Momonosuke possesses a special ability. He can hear the voice of all things. This is a rare power that allows certain people to hear and understand things that normal people cannot. Gold D. Roger also possessed this ability. The voice of all things lets users communicate with beings that do not speak human language. Zunisha is an enormous elephant. It is one of the largest living creatures in the world. Zunisha has walked through the ocean for over 1,000 years. The elephant carries an entire civilization on its back. The Mink tribe lives on top of Zunisha. They call their home Zu. The elephant walks continuously and never stops moving. Zunisha committed some crime in the ancient past. As punishment, Zunisha was commanded to walk forever. The elephant cannot act on its own will. It can only follow the orders it was given long ago. Zunisha cannot defend itself even when attacked. It must wait for permission to take any action. When Jack attacked Zu, Zunisha could not fight back. The elephant was being hurt but could do nothing. Momonosuke heard Zunisha's voice during this crisis. The elephant was asking for permission to fight. Zunisha needed someone from the Kozuki clan to give it orders. Momonosuke responded to Zunisha. He gave the elephant permission to defend itself. He ordered Zunisha to attack Jack and his fleet. Zunisha immediately obeyed. The elephant used its massive trunk to strike. It destroyed Jack's entire fleet with a single blow. All the ships sank instantly. This event proved that Momonosuke could communicate with Zunisha. Only members of the Kozuki clan can give orders to the ancient elephant. Momonosuke's ability confirmed his bloodline and his importance to Wano's future. Moving on to Dracule Mihawk. Dracule Mihawk. Dracule Mihawk is one of the most powerful fighters in the One Piece world. He holds the official title of World's Strongest Swordsman. This title means that no living swordsman can defeat him in combat. Mihawk has proven his superiority over all other sword fighters. His skill with a blade is unmatched. Mihawk wields a sword called Yoru. This is a supreme grade sword, the highest classification of blade quality. Yoru is one of only 12 supreme grade swords in existence. The sword is massive with a black blade. Mihawk can cut through enormous objects with casual swings. He once sliced a massive galleon ship completely in half with a single strike. Mihawk was formerly one of the 7 warlords of the sea. He held this position for many years. The world government gave him protection and freedom in exchange for occasional assistance. However, the warlord system was abolished during the Reverie. Mihawk lost his protected status. He became a hunted pirate again. Mihawk has a history with Shanks. The two fought many legendary duels in the past. Their battles were famous across the seas. However, Mihawk stopped fighting Shanks after Shanks lost his arm. Mihawk considered it beneath him to fight a one-armed opponent. He wanted to face Shanks at full strength. Despite ending their duels, Mihawk and Shanks maintain a respectful relationship. Mihawk lives alone on a gloomy island called Kuraigana Island. He resides in a castle surrounded by ruins. Human drills, aggressive monkey-like creatures, inhabit the island. Mihawk enjoys his solitude. He spends his time training and perfecting his swordsmanship. Roronoa Zoro traveled to Kuraigana Island. He asked Mihawk to train him. Mihawk accepted and trained Zoro for 2 years. This training significantly improved Zoro's abilities. Zoro's ultimate goal is to defeat Mihawk and claim the title of World's Strongest Swordsman. Mihawk respects Zoro's ambition and looks forward to their eventual battle. Moving on to the mysterious D initial. The mysterious D initial. Throughout the One Piece world, certain people carry the letter D in their names. This initial appears in the middle of their full names. These individuals come from completely different families and backgrounds. They have no apparent blood relation to each other, yet they all share this mysterious letter. Many important figures in history have carried the D. Gol D. Roger was the Pirate King. Monkey D. Garp is a legendary marine hero. Monkey D. Dragon leads the Revolutionary Army. Monkey D. Luffy is the main protagonist. Portgas D. Ace was Roger's son. Marshall D. Teach is the current Blackbeard. Trafalgar D. Water Law captains the Heart Pirates. Rox D. Zebek was a legendary pirate from decades ago. The D appears across generations and centuries. It is not limited to one era or one family line. People with the D have appeared throughout history. They often become significant figures who change the world. Many of them oppose the world government in some way. They challenge the established order. The world government fears people who carry the D. They consider them natural enemies. The celestial dragons especially hate the D clan. However, The government has never explained why they fear these people. The true meaning of the D remains one of the greatest mysteries in the world. Some characters have discussed the D. Dr. Kureha called it the will of D. She suggested it represents some kind of inherited will that passes through generations. Whitebeard mentioned the D before his death. He said, "Someone would eventually carry centuries of history on their back and challenge the world." Roger knew something about the D's meaning. He learned secrets during his final journey. However, he never fully explained what he discovered. The people who carry the D often do not understand its significance themselves. Luffy does not know why he has the D. Law hid his D for years. The mystery continues throughout the story. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to the Road Poneglyph Collection. Road Poneglyph Collection. Road poneglyphs are special red-colored poneglyphs. They are different from the regular blue-gray historical poneglyphs. Only 4 road poneglyphs exist in the entire world. These 4 stones contain coordinates. When all 4 coordinates are combined together, they reveal a single location. That location is Laugh-Tale, the final island of the Grand Line. Reaching Laugh-Tale requires obtaining information from all 4 road poneglyphs. Pirates cannot find the island through normal navigation. The island does not appear on any maps. The only way to locate it is by using the 4 road poneglyphs together. This makes the road poneglyphs extremely valuable to anyone seeking the One Piece. The Straw Hat Pirates have been collecting road poneglyph rubbings during their journey. A rubbing is a copy made by pressing paper against the poneglyph and tracing its inscriptions. Robin creates these rubbings because she can read the ancient language. The rubbings preserve the information without needing to transport the massive stone blocks. The Straw Hats obtained their first road poneglyph rubbing on Zou. The Mink tribe had protected this road poneglyph for generations. They allowed the Straw Hats to make a rubbing. The second road poneglyph was located on Whole Cake Island. This stone was in Big Mom's possession. The Straw Hats infiltrated her territory and obtained a rubbing during the wedding chaos. The third road poneglyph was in Wano country. Kaido had possession of this stone. It was kept on Onigashima. After Kaido's defeat, the Straw Hats made a rubbing of this road poneglyph. They now have 3 of the 4 road poneglyphs. The location of the 4th road poneglyph remains unknown. No one knows where it currently is. Some believe it was lost or destroyed. Others think it is hidden somewhere. The Straw Hats need to find this final road poneglyph to reach Laugh-Tale and discover the One Piece. Moving on to Wano's closed borders. Wano's closed borders. Wano country is an isolated nation in the New World. The country has very unique characteristics. It is not affiliated with the world government. Ships cannot easily enter or leave Wano. Massive waterfalls surround the island. These waterfalls make normal sailing impossible. Ships must be pulled up the waterfalls by special carp to enter. Centuries ago, the Kozuki clan closed Wano's borders. The Kozuki family ruled Wano as shoguns. They made the decision to isolate their country from the outside world. They cut off contact with other nations. Wano became a closed country that did not interact with the rest of the world. This isolation continued for hundreds of years. The reason for closing the borders connects to ancient history. The Kozuki clan knew important secrets about the Void Century. They created the poneglyphs that recorded this forbidden history. Closing Wano's borders protected these secrets. It also protected the country from the world government. The isolation kept Wano safe from outside threats. Kozuki Oden was born into this closed country. He was the son of the shogun. Oden was different from previous Kozuki leaders. He wanted to see the world beyond Wano. He dreamed of opening the country's borders. Odin believed Wano should not remain isolated forever. Odin left Wano and traveled with Whitebeard's crew. He later joined Goldie Roger's crew. Odin journeyed to Laugh Tale and learned the truth about the world. After returning to Wano, Odin became even more determined to open the borders. He believed opening Wano was necessary for an important future event. However, Kurozumi Orochi and Kaido took control of Wano before Odin could accomplish this goal. They killed Odin and ruled Wano tyrannically for 20 years. The borders remained closed. After Kaido's defeat, Momonosuke became the new shogun. He inherited his father's dream of eventually opening Wano to the world. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to Tenguyama Hitetsu's true identity. Tenguyama Hitetsu's true identity. Kozuki Sukiyaki was the shogun of Wano country. He was Kozuki Odin's father. Sukiyaki ruled Wano before the country fell to Orochi and Kaido. However, tragedy struck during his reign. Sukiyaki became sick with an illness. He needed time to recover away from his duties. Kurozumi Orochi took advantage of this situation. Orochi was working as a servant in the castle. He secretly poisoned Sukiyaki and kept him imprisoned. Orochi then impersonated Sukiyaki using a devil fruit user's transformation ability. The imposter made terrible decisions that damaged Wano. Everyone in Wano believed that Sukiyaki had died. Orochi spread this false information. The public thought their shogun was gone. Even Odin believed his father had passed away. Sukiyaki's apparent death was one of the tragedies that led to Wano's downfall. Orochi used this deception to seize power. However, Sukiyaki had actually survived. He eventually escaped from his imprisonment. Sukiyaki could not reclaim his position as shogun. Orochi had already taken complete control with Kaido's military support. Sukiyaki was powerless against them. He decided to live in hiding instead. Sukiyaki adopted a disguise and a new identity. He became Tenguyama Hitetsu. He wore a Tengu mask that completely concealed his face. He presented himself as a swordsmith living in the Kuri region. Hitetsu collected swords and preserved them. He also took care of Tama, a young girl who lived nearby. The Straw Hat Pirates met Hitetsu during their time in Wano. They did not know his true identity. Hitetsu helped them without revealing who he really was. After Kaido's defeat, Sukiyaki finally revealed the truth. He removed his mask and showed that he was the former shogun. He had survived in hiding for over 20 years. Sukiyaki reunited with his grandson Momonosuke and supported Wano's liberation. Moving on to Kozuki Odin's voyages. Kozuki Odin's voyages. Kozuki Odin was born in Wano country. He was the son of the shogun Kozuki Sukiyaki. Odin was wild and rebellious from childhood. He constantly caused trouble in Wano. He was extremely strong and had an adventurous spirit. Odin dreamed of leaving Wano and exploring the world beyond its borders. Wano's borders were closed. Citizens were forbidden from leaving the country. However, Odin desperately wanted to sail the seas. He tried to leave multiple times but failed. Eventually, Whitebeard's pirate crew arrived near Wano's shores. Odin saw his opportunity. He grabbed onto Whitebeard's ship and refused to let go. He held on for days until Whitebeard finally allowed him aboard. Odin sailed with the Whitebeard pirates for several years. He became a division commander and earned the crew's respect. During this time, Odin met Kozuki Toki. She became his wife. They had 2 children together, Momonosuke and Hiyori. Odin experienced many adventures across the seas with Whitebeard's crew. Then Odin encountered Gol D. Roger. Roger asked Whitebeard to lend him Odin temporarily. Roger needed someone who could read the poneglyphs. Odin possessed the ability to read and write the ancient language. Whitebeard agreed to let Odin join Roger's final journey. Odin sailed with the Roger pirates to the end of the Grand Line. He reached Laughtale with Roger's crew. Odin learned the true history of the world. He discovered what the One Piece was. He learned about the Void Century and Joy Boy. After Roger's journey ended, Odin returned to Wano country. He wanted to open Wano's borders. He believed this was necessary for an important future event. However, Kurozumi Orochi and Kaido had taken control during his absence. Odin tried to liberate Wano, but was ultimately defeated and executed. His dream of opening the borders remained unfulfilled. Moving on to Kaido's Dragon Devil Fruit. Kaido's Dragon Devil Fruit. Kaido is one of the 4 emperors who rule the New World. He is known as the strongest creature alive. Kaido has tremendous physical strength and durability. He is extremely difficult to kill or even injure. Much of his power comes from his Devil Fruit ability. Kaido ate the Wo no Mi model Seiryu. In English, this translates to the fish fruit model Azure Dragon. This is a mythical Zoan type devil fruit. Mythical Zoans are the rarest type of devil fruit. They grant the power to transform into legendary creatures. Kaido's fruit specifically allows him to become an azure dragon from Eastern mythology. When Kaido transforms, he becomes an enormous serpentine dragon. His dragon form is massive in size. The dragon can fly through the sky by creating and walking on clouds called flame clouds. These clouds support Kaido's weight and allow him to move freely through the air. He can also use them to lift entire islands. Kaido's dragon form has devastating offensive abilities. He can breathe powerful blasts of fire from his mouth. These flames can instantly incinerate targets. He can shoot wind blades called Kaifu that slice through objects. He can create lightning bolts and summon tornadoes. The dragon form gives Kaido control over multiple elemental attacks. The fruit is called a fish fruit because of Eastern mythology. In these legends, fish that swim up waterfalls and reach the top transform into dragons. This mythological story explains the fruit's classification. The transformation from fish to dragon represents achieving the impossible. Kaido's devil fruit was given to him by Big Mom. This happened decades ago when they were both members of the Rocks Pirates. Big Mom gave the fruit to Kaido on the day of the God Valley incident. Kaido has possessed this power for over 40 years. He has mastered his abilities completely. The combination of his natural durability and his mythical Zoan fruit makes Kaido one of the most powerful beings in the world. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to Big Mom's soul powers. Big Mom's soul powers. Charlotte Linlin, known as Big Mom, is one of the 4 emperors. She possesses the Soru no Mi. This translates to the soul fruit. This paramecia-type devil fruit grants her power over souls. Big Mom can manipulate human souls and lifespan. She can extract souls from living beings and use them for various purposes. Big Mom can take lifespan directly from people. She reaches toward them and pulls soul material from their bodies. The victim loses years or decades of their life. This process usually kills people instantly. However, the ability only works on people who feel fear. If someone is completely unafraid of Big Mom, She cannot steal their soul. People who do not fear death are immune to this particular technique. Big Mom uses extracted souls to create beings called homies. She takes a fragment of soul and places it into an object or animal. The object becomes alive and gains consciousness. It can move, speak, and follow orders. Big Mom has created thousands of homies throughout her territory. These homies serve her and populate her kingdom of Totoland. Some homies are more powerful than others. Big Mom has 3 special homies that she created using fragments of her own soul. Zeus is a thundercloud homie. Prometheus is a sun-shaped fire homie. Napoleon is a bicorn hat that transforms into a sword. These 3 homies are much stronger than regular homies because they contain pieces of Big Mom's personal soul. Homies exist in many forms. Big Mom has put souls into trees, furniture, doors, food, plants, and countless other objects. She even created an entire nation where everything is alive. The trees talk. The roads move. The buildings have faces and personalities. This creates a surreal environment where nothing is just an ordinary object. Big Mom can also extend or reduce people's lifespans using souls. She took years from her own children to give herself more life. She can manipulate the life force of anyone except herself. This power makes her extremely dangerous and nearly immortal. Moving on to the Pacifista technology. Pacifista technology. The Pacifistas are weapons developed by Dr. Vegapunk for the world government. They are human-shaped cyborgs designed for combat. The Pacifistas were created to strengthen the Marines' military power. Each Pacifista is extremely expensive to produce. However, they provide significant combat capability. The Pacifistas are modeled after Bartholomew Kuma. Kuma was originally a Revolutionary Army officer and later became a warlord. He eventually volunteered to become a full cyborg for Vegapunk's experiments. The Pacifistas use his body as the template. They all share his appearance and basic physical structure. The Pacifistas possess incredible durability. Their bodies are made from reinforced materials that can withstand tremendous damage. Their cyborg bodies give them enhanced strength and defensive capabilities. They can continue fighting even after sustaining injuries that would kill a person. The most notable feature of the Pacifistas is their laser attack. Each Pacifista can fire powerful laser beams from their hands and mouth. These lasers can pierce through steel and stone easily. They can destroy ships and buildings. The lasers are based on Admiral Kizaru's Devil Fruit ability. Kizaru ate the Pika Pika no Mi. This is the Glint Glint fruit in English. It is a Logia-type devil fruit that grants control over light. Kizaru can create and become light itself. He can fire laser beams as one of his primary attacks. Vegapunk studied Kizaru's light-based abilities and replicated them technologically. The Pacifista lasers are not as powerful as Kizaru's natural abilities. However, they are still devastating weapons. Vegapunk successfully recreated Devil Fruit powers through science. This technological achievement shocked the world. The Pacifistas demonstrated that Devil Fruit abilities could be artificially reproduced to some degree. Multiple Pacifistas were deployed during the Paramount War. They fought against the Whitebeard pirates and caused significant damage. The Marines continue to use Pacifistas as powerful weapons in their operations. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to Sabaody Archipelago's Grove System. Sabaody Archipelago's Grove System. The Sabaody Archipelago stands as one of Paradise's most remarkable locations, constructed entirely from 79 massive Yarukiman mangrove trees that grow from the ocean floor to pierce the surface. Each individual tree functions as its own grove, numbered sequentially from 1 through 79, with bridges connecting the roots to allow travel between them. The numbering system directly correlates to the area's purpose and level of danger, creating distinct zones across the archipelago. Groves 1 through 29 constitute the lawless area, where pirates and bounty hunters operate freely, beyond marine jurisdiction, making these lower-numbered locations particularly treacherous for civilians. The infamous human auction house sits specifically on Grove 1, where the slave trade operated openly under Don Quixote do Flamingo's ownership until Disco took management before its eventual destruction and bankruptcy, following the Celestial Dragon hit-and-run incident. Groves 30 through 79 fall under varying degrees of marine base influence, with the security forces originally maintaining control from Grove 30 onward, though this influence weakened significantly after Marine headquarters relocated to the New World. The middle-numbered groves host entertainment facilities, including Sabaody Park, spanning Groves 30 through 39, while higher numbers contain shipyards, marine installations, and various commercial districts. Grove 13 houses Shacky's Rip-Off Bar, and coating mechanics operate in the 40s, where pirates frequently dock their vessels. This systematic organization makes navigation straightforward, despite the archipelago's massive scale, though the division also creates clear territorial boundaries between lawful and lawless zones that define the social dynamics throughout this critical waypoint before crossing into the New World. Moving on to Impel Down's descending levels. Impel Down's descending levels. Impel Down represents the world government's ultimate prison facility, constructed as a massive underwater tower, descending into the ocean depths with its foundation resting on the seabed. The prison's architecture organizes inmates across 6 distinct levels that progressively worsen in both security and torture methods as they descend deeper underground. Level 1, Crimson Hell, forces prisoners through forests of blade-sharp kenju trees and needle-like haribariso grass while poisonous spiders pursue them. Level 2, Wild Beast Hell, traps inmates within a labyrinth populated by ferocious beasts including the basilisk and sphinx. Level 3, Starvation Hell, subjects prisoners to extreme heat radiating upward from level 4 below, creating desert-like conditions with minimal food and water provisions. Level 4, Blazing Hell, contains a massive pool of boiling blood, generating scorching temperatures that burn flesh and superheat the surrounding stone. Level 5, Freezing Hell, plunges temperatures so low that frostbite and hypothermia claim prisoners constantly, with wolves too vicious for level 2 prowling these frozen depths. Den Den Mushi cannot function in level 5's extreme cold except near entrance areas connecting to adjacent levels. Between levels 5 and 6 exists the hidden level 5.5, known as Newkama Land, created by Revolutionary Army Commander Emporio Ivankov, using passages dug by a former prisoner's tunneling devil fruit ability. This secret haven rescued disappearing Level 5 prisoners through a network of hidden entrances throughout the prison. Finally, Level 6, Eternal Hell, houses the most dangerous criminals whose existences threaten the world government itself. Prisoners either awaiting execution or serving life sentences. Ironically, Level 6 lacks the systematic torture of levels above, as these exceptionally powerful inmates prove too formidable for conventional punishment methods, instead remaining chained in darkness until their sentences conclude. Moving on to Den Den Mushi. Communication Systems. Den Den Mushi Communication Systems. Den Den Mushi represent a unique species of telepathic snails that form the communication backbone throughout the One Piece world, functioning as natural telecommunication devices after humans attached mechanical components, including dials and receivers, to harness their innate abilities. These remarkable creatures possess the capacity to communicate telepathically across vast distances through electronic signals or thought waves, establishing connections between paired snails when specific numbers are dialed on their mechanisms. Beyond simple signal transmission, Den-den mushi demonstrate extraordinary mimicry capabilities that elevate them far beyond basic communication tools. Each snail perfectly replicates the voice of whoever speaks through them, capturing every subtle intonation, speech pattern, and vocal characteristic with flawless accuracy. The visual mimicry proves equally impressive as these creatures adopt the facial expressions of their users in real time during conversations, allowing recipients to observe emotional reactions and expressions despite the physical distance separating them. Even more remarkably, Den-den mushi physically transform their appearances to mirror distinctive features of the person communicating through them, manifesting scars, glasses, facial hair, clothing, and other identifying characteristics. This transformation occurs automatically, whether the snail belongs to the speaker or receiver, ensuring visual identification during calls. Various specialized Den-den mushi breeds exist throughout the world serving specific functions. Standard models handle basic audio communication. Baby Den-den mushi provide portable handheld options. Visual and surveillance variants transmit live video feeds. Camera types store photographs, while black Den-den mushi intercept communications as wiretapping devices used primarily by Marines. Golden and silver pairs function as emergency alert systems. These living devices require care, including regular feeding, can fall ill, affecting their transmission capabilities, and may be rendered unconscious by conqueror's haki. Their natural lethargic temperament makes them ideal communication partners in what essentially functions as a symbiotic relationship where they exchange their telepathic services for food and shelter. Moving on to Sky Island Cloud Formation. Sky Island Cloud Formation. Sky islands exist at extreme altitudes thanks to two specialized cloud types, island clouds and sea clouds, both formed through a unique atmospheric phenomenon involving a compound called pyrobloin, found within sea stone. When volcanic eruptions eject pyrobloin particles into the atmosphere, they rise to great heights where they contact water vapor, triggering the formation of these extraordinary clouds. The density of water vapor molecules at the moment of contact determines which cloud type manifests. Higher density vapor produces island clouds, while lower density creates sea clouds. Island clouds possess remarkable solidity, despite their fluffy appearance, becoming dense enough to support structures, vegetation, and entire civilizations, while remaining sufficiently stable to be carved and shaped using specialized cutting tools, like the massive saws employed at Skypia's cloud cutting factories. These factories process raw island clouds into manufactured products, including milky roads, artificial rivers of cloud material that flow through the air, furniture, and architectural components. Sea clouds exhibit water-like properties that allow ships to sail across their surfaces and swimmers to traverse them. Though their slightly lower density compared to actual seawater causes objects to sink faster, and they lack a solid floor beneath their depths. Both cloud types function identically to regular water in their effects on devil fruit users, sapping their strength upon contact. These specialized clouds cannot survive at blue sea level under normal atmospheric conditions, making them exclusive to locations of extreme altitude, including the White Sea at 7,000 meters and White Sea at 10,000 meters elevation. Skypea and other sky islands rest upon these cloud formations, with island clouds forming the land masses and sea clouds creating navigable oceans in the sky. Scientist Vegapunk successfully replicated these conditions artificially at Egghead, using an advanced climate control system, demonstrating the clouds result from specific environmental factors rather than supernatural phenomena. Moving on to Sugar Hobi Hobi no Mi powers. Sugar's Hobi no Mi powers. Sugar holds the Hobi Hobi no Mi, a devil fruit that grants two devastating abilities that made her central to Don Quixote Doflamingo's control over Dressrosa. The primary power transforms any living creature she touches into a toy, instantly changing humans and animals into dolls, toy soldiers, stuffed animals, or any toy form she chooses. Victims retain their consciousness and memories but lose access to devil fruit powers and physical strength, becoming subject to whatever form their new toy body allows. After transformation, Sugar creates contracts, forcing toys to obey specific commands, stripping them of free will entirely, though toys who escape before contract creation can retain autonomy. The secondary effect proves even more sinister. Everyone who knew the transformed person completely forgets their existence, with memories erasing instantly, even from those witnessing the transformation firsthand. Families forget their loved ones, friends cannot recall companions, and the transformed disappear from history as if they never existed. Only the toys themselves remember who they were, though they cannot remember other people turned into toys. Physical evidence, like engraved names or statues, remains, but people cannot connect these remnants to actual individuals. The fruit granted Sugar eternal youth as a side effect, halting her aging at 10 years old despite being 22 during the Dressrosa conflict. This allowed her to appear harmless while approaching victims. Doflamingo exploited these powers for a decade, transforming dissidents and inconvenient people into toys who labored as slaves, while everyone forgot they existed. Elite Officer Trebol constantly protected Sugar because knocking her unconscious through pain or fear immediately reverses all transformations and restores every erased memory, which occurred twice when Usopp terrified her first, accidentally with a hideous facial expression. Then, deliberately with a drawn recreation that traumatized her again, both times freeing hundreds of victims and collapsing Doflamingo's conspiracy. Moving on to the Tontatta Dwarves of Greenbit. The Tontatta Dwarves of Greenbit, located immediately north of Dressrosa and connected by an ancient iron bridge, houses the Tontatta Kingdom beneath its forested surface, where the Tontatta tribe has lived for centuries. These dwarves measure approximately 20 centimeters tall, small enough to fit comfortably in a human palm, with distinctive features, including pointed noses and thick, furry tails that appear fluffy but contain hard bone and muscle. Despite their tiny size, Tontatta possess extraordinary physical strength. A single dwarf can easily demolish entire buildings. Their speed allows them to disappear from sight in an eye blink, making them nearly impossible for normal humans to track visually. This incredible stealth lets them strip people of all possessions, including clothing, before victims realize anything happened. The Tontatta have earned recognition as exceptional cultivators who can grow any plant, evidenced by Greenbit's abundant vegetation and their historical agreement with the Riku family to cover Dressrosa in lush greenery and blooming flowers. However, they struggled cultivating smile fruits due to their artificial nature. The tribe commands swarms of flying insects for transportation and mobility, operating services like the Tontatta Airline, using trained bugs, and the Corn Express utilizing linear foxes. Their culture exhibits extreme gullibility and trust. They believe anyone, regardless of obvious lies, a trait Usopp exploited when he claimed to be descended from legendary hero Mont Blanc Noland, who fought alongside their ancestors 400 years ago. The tribe speaks with distinctive speech patterns, frequently adding phrases ending in sounds like Rezu to their sentences. King Gancho rules the Tontada Kingdom, which mobilized 200 warriors forming the Tonta Corps under Captain Leo during Operation SOP to overthrow Doflamingo's tyranny, rescue enslaved tribe members, including Princess Mancherry, and destroy the Smile Factory, where many dwarves had been forced into labor after Doflamingo's takeover 8 years before the Summit War. Moving on to Punk Hazard's artificial dragons. Punk Hazard's artificial dragons. The dragons inhabiting Punk Hazard represent artificial creations developed by scientist Vegapunk during his tenure operating government laboratories on the island before its abandonment. Dragon number 13. The first successful creation. Measured 70 meters in length, with red scales covering its massive body, a long neck and tail, 4 stumpy legs with smaller forelegs than hind legs, sharp teeth, 2 backward-pointing horns, wings, and spikes running from neck to tail. Vegapunk designed these creatures to serve as guards and pack animals for the facility, with one world noble growing fond enough of Dragon number 13 to personally name him. Following the original's success, Vegapunk created Dragon number 21 as an improved design, smaller than its predecessor at roughly horse size, with green scales and dark green spots, sacrificing size for increased speed and agility. Both dragons survived the catastrophic poisonous gas explosion caused by Caesar Clown's detonated chemical weapon 4 years before the Straw Hats' arrival, remaining on the devastated island even after government personnel evacuated and sealed Punk Hazard. The massive environmental changes from Admirals Akainu and Aokiji's fight 2 years later split the island between burning lands and frozen wasteland. Yet the dragons adapted without difficulty. Dragon number 13 continued patrolling the burning section until Roronoa Zoro killed him with a single decapitating sword strike, after which the Straw Hats cooked and ate his meat. Dragon number 21 served under Caesar's control, using sedatives that prevented flight but maintained ground speed, eventually meeting its end when Brook and Kinemon simultaneously cut it down after it attacked various groups throughout the laboratory. These artificial creatures demonstrated intelligence, ferocity, fire-breathing capability, and environmental adaptation, showcasing Vegapunk's technological achievements that remain 500 years ahead of contemporary science, according to widespread assessment throughout the One Piece world. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to Caesar Clown's Sad and Smile production. Caesar Clown's Sad and Smile production. Caesar Clown created the substance sad as the essential ingredient for manufacturing Smile artificial devil fruits, making him the only person in the world who knows the production formula. SAD consists of mixed lineage factors extracted from numerous animals, utilizing practical applications of discoveries made by Vegapunk and Vinsmoke Judge about this universal genetic blueprint that serves as life's foundation. Caesar produced SAD in his laboratory on Punk Hazard within the SAD production room, storing the green liquid in large metallic vats equipped with tubes and marked with nuclear symbols. After manufacturing SAD at Punk Hazard, Don Quixote Doflamingo transported the substance to the Smile Factory hidden beneath the Corrida Coliseum in Dressrosa, where enslaved Tontada dwarves cultivated the fruits. The production process involved luminescent sunflowers providing light to indoor fruit tree orchards while sad flowed through irrigation canals beneath the trees, feeding the chemical into roots and modifying regular fruits into smiles. Doflamingo monopolized smile distribution, selling exclusively to Emperor Kaido, who fed them to Beasts Pirates members, attempting to create the world's strongest pirate crew, composed entirely of devil fruit users. Kaido successfully built an army exceeding 500 smile users, called gifters, through this arrangement. However, the SAD formula remained incomplete according to Shinobu, causing smiles to have extremely high risk factors with devastating consequences for most consumers. Trafalgar Law targeted the SAD production room as his true objective during the Punk Hazard incident, eventually destroying the facility by slicing it completely in half alongside the entire research institute, halting all future SAD manufacturing. The Straw Hat and Heart Pirates Alliance later destroyed the remaining SAD supply and Smile factory in Dressrosa when the Tontatta dwarves revolted, permanently ending Smile production and preventing Kaido from creating additional gifters to expand his artificial Zoan army further. Moving on to Smile's 10% success rate. Smile's 10% success rate. Smile artificial devil fruits carry devastating risks due to their incomplete formula, with only 10% successfully granting animal-based powers, while the remaining 90% inflict permanent side effects without providing any abilities whatsoever. Successful Smile consumers gain animal body parts growing from their bodies or even entire sentient animals emerging from them, though these transformations usually remain permanent rather than activatable like regular Zoan fruits, with users unable to shift between forms at will. The unfortunate 90% who consume defective Smiles suffer multiple debilitating effects. They lose swimming ability like all devil fruit users, but gain no compensating powers. And most devastatingly, they permanently lose the capacity to express negative emotions, including sadness, anger, fear, or any feeling besides joy. These victims find themselves forced to smile and laugh constantly regardless of their true feelings, unable to cry even during tragic circumstances or express grief when loved ones die. The side effects persist even if someone eats only a partial smile rather than consuming the entire fruit. Doflamingo, Caesar Clown, and Kaido cruelly named these fruits Smile, specifically to mock the misfortune of the 90% who would spend their entire lives trapped in forced smiling and laughter, making the name itself a twisted joke at victims' expense. This naming creates dark irony since the raw ingredient sad means sadness, while the finished product Smile represents forced happiness, though neither brings genuine joy to consumers. Kurozumi Orochi weaponized defective Smiles against Wano's poorest citizens by mixing discarded failed fruits into leftover food distributed to Ebisu Town, transforming the entire population into perpetually smiling victims who could not mourn even during executions or express their true suffering under his tyrannical rule. Unlike regular devil fruits that taste terrible, Smiles possess pleasant, ordinary fruit flavors, which inadvertently made Orochi's scheme more effective since Ebisu Town residents willingly ate the failed fruits without detecting anything wrong until the permanent effects manifested. Moving on to Wano's Pleasure and Water System. Wano's Pleasure and Water System. The Beasts Pirates under Emperor Kaido developed a 3-tier classification system for crew members based on Smile consumption results: gifters, pleasures, and waiters. Gifters constitute the successful 10% who gained animal powers from Smiles, numbering over 500 individuals who represent Kaido's elite forces and dream of commanding an entirely Zoan-powered crew. Many particularly strong gifters earned promotion to Shinichi officer rank within the organization's hierarchy. These gifters receive code names corresponding to their animal powers, followed by suffixes like man or lady, such as Sheep's Head, who transforms his hands into ram horns. Some possess enough control over their abilities to transform specific body parts into non-corresponding animal features beyond their base animal type. Pleasures represent the tragic 90% who ate defective smiles, numbering approximately 4,500 members serving as mid-level foot soldiers, ranking above only waiters. Despite being deemed worthy of eating smiles initially, pleasures gained no powers but suffer permanent inability to express emotions besides happiness, forcing them to smile and laugh continuously, even when experiencing pain or witnessing traumatic events. They retain devil fruit swimming weakness without receiving any compensating abilities. Pleasures wear distinctive single white horns on their heads and perform duties like patrolling Wano and scouting surrounding areas. Waiters comprise the lowest tier of approximately 15,000 members who await their opportunity to consume smiles, representing potential future gifters or pleasures depending on luck. After the Smile Factory's destruction halted production, waiters effectively lost all future value to the crew since no additional fruits existed for them to eat. Queen later revealed during the Onigashima raid that the crew viewed both pleasures and waiters as expendable, even planning to use them as test subjects for the Ice Oni virus after smiles became unavailable, demonstrating how the organization considered these lower-ranked members disposable once their potential usefulness disappeared. Moving on to Pudding's Third Eye Awakening ability. Pudding's Third Eye Awakening ability. Charlotte Pudding belongs to the extremely rare Three-Eye tribe through her mother's lineage, making her a half-human hybrid who inherited the distinctive third eye positioned horizontally on her forehead between her normal eyes. The Three-Eye tribe possesses potential for true awakening of their third eye, which grants the extraordinary ability to hear the voice of all things. The same power Goldie Roger wielded naturally. This awakening extends to deciphering and reading poneglyphs written in ancient script, making Three-Eye tribe members incredibly valuable to anyone seeking Laugh Tale and the One Piece. However, the awakening method remains unknown, and Pudding herself expressed uncertainty whether mixed blood hybrids can achieve this awakening, despite retaining the physical third eye. Vegapunk suggested only a few descendants of this rare race still exist, implying most were eliminated throughout history. Big Mom arranged Pudding's marriage to Sanji primarily because she wanted Pudding to awaken her ability and lead her to the One Piece by reading the road poneglyphs. Throughout her childhood, Pudding experienced severe discrimination from adults and children alike who found her third eye disgusting, with even Big Mom calling it creepy and forcing Pudding to hide it behind her bangs. This trauma caused Pudding to expect Sanji would react identically. But when he called her third eye beautiful, instead, she cried with joy and fell genuinely in love with him. Big Mom eventually gave up waiting for Pudding's awakening during the Wano conflict, deciding to capture Nico Robin instead for poneglyph reading. The Blackbeard pirates later kidnapped Pudding from Whole Cake Island, with Kuzan and Van Augur invading during the crew's weakened state. Following Big Mom's defeat, Blackbeard's interest in Pudding strongly suggests either she successfully awakened her ability or he believes he can force the awakening, as he needs someone capable of reading the road poneglyphs he collected to locate Laugh Tale and claim the One Piece before rival crews. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to Germa 66's Sovereign Warmonger status. Germa 66's Sovereign Warmonger status. Germa 66 serves as both the military branch of the Germa Kingdom and an underworld mercenary force, earning the nickname the Warmongers through centuries of conquest and destruction. The kingdom holds unique sovereign status despite lacking fixed territory, instead comprising ships shaped like giant snails that traverse oceans. Vinsmoke Judge commands this organization as Supreme Commander, ruling through advanced scientific technology that positions Jerma among the world's most formidable military powers. Their technological achievements include raid suits, specialized combat gear stored in small canisters that deploy instantly when activated. These suits provide wearers with fireproof protection, flight capability through jet-propelled boots, enhanced strength, and individual abilities unique to each user. Judge, Reiju, Ichiji, Niji, and Yonji each possess personalized raid suits marked with their designated numbers. The suits remember their wearer's shape and transform rapidly around the body. Beyond raid suits, Jerma maintains a clone army of soldiers manufactured through lineage factor research, programmed for absolute loyalty and willing self-sacrifice. These artificially created troops wear uniforms bearing the distinctive orange 66 emblem. Jerma 66's reputation stems from devastating campaigns like the conquest of 4 nations, where they toppled 4 kingdoms simultaneously within the North Blue. Their technological superiority attracted Big Mom's interest in forming alliances, recognizing that Germa's scientific advancements could enhance her own military capabilities significantly. Moving on to Judge's genetic modifications and Sora's sacrifice. Judge's genetic modifications and Sora's sacrifice. Vinsmoke Judge modified his children's lineage factors, while his wife Sora carried quadruplet sons, performing genetic surgery in utero to create emotionless superhuman soldiers. The modifications granted enhanced physical capabilities, including an exoskeleton, providing incredible durability, accelerated healing, and strength matching adult soldiers despite their young age. Judge intended these enhancements to remove compassion and fear, creating perfect warriors for Jerma 66's military ambitions. However, Sora opposed transforming her sons into emotionless killing machines, desperately arguing against Judge's plans. When forced to undergo the surgery against her will, Sora consumed a powerful drug intended to counteract the genetic modification's effects. The drug severely weakened Sora's health, ultimately causing her death, but successfully preserved Sanji's humanity alone among the quadruplets. Ichiji, Niji, and Yonji received full modifications, making them superhuman but emotionless, while Sanji remained physically normal with complete emotional capacity, including empathy, compassion, and kindness. Judge despised Sanji for this failure, viewing his emotional nature as weakness and allowing his other sons to bully him relentlessly. Reiju received genetic enhancements but retained emotions, though modifications prevented her from directly disobeying Judge's commands. Sora cherished Sanji's emotional growth before her death, considering him the sweetest child and taking pride in his compassionate nature. Years later, during the Wano raid, wearing his raid suit multiple times triggered Sanji's dormant genetic modifications to awaken, granting him superhuman abilities while crucially maintaining the emotions his mother died protecting. Moving on to Zou Island on Zunisha's back. Zou Island on Zunisha's back. Zou exists as an island situated entirely on the back of Zunisha, a colossal Naitami Norida elephant exceeding 5 kilometers in height that continuously walks across the New World's ocean floor. The elephant's extraordinarily long, 2-jointed legs allow it to traverse underwater while keeping its upper body and approximately 1/3 of each leg above sea level. Zou earned designation as a phantom island because log poses cannot track its location, since Zunisha constantly moves, requiring Vivre cards for navigation. The Mokomo dukedom of the mink tribe has inhabited Zoo for over 1,000 years, establishing cities including Kurau City and the whale forest across Zunesha's back. The elephant's movement creates unique environmental conditions. Its rough, rippled skin forms the ground, making walking difficult, and twice daily it performs eruption rain by spraying seawater over itself, temporarily flooding streets while providing fish and fresh water through filtration systems that minks consider blessings. Zunisha endures eternal wandering as punishment for an unspecified crime committed during the Void Century 800 years ago, when it served as Joy Boy's companion. The punishment restricts Zunisha from defending itself without explicit permission from someone capable of hearing the voice of all things. Despite this limitation, Zunisha deeply cares about the mink tribe civilization it carries. When Kozuki Momonosuke later communicated with Zunisha through the voice of all things, the elephant revealed its ancient connection to Joy Boy and recognized similarities between the legendary figure and Monkey D. Luffy after his Gear 5 awakening. Moving on to Jack's attack on Zou. Jack's attack on Zou. Jack the Drought, an all-star commander of the Beast's pirates and giant fishman, led a devastating assault on Zou searching for the ninja Raizo whom Kaido desperately sought. Jack arrived with his fleet and forces including gifters and pleasures, immediately demanding the mink's surrender, Raizo. Despite the mink's truthful insistence that Raizo was not present, Jack refused to believe them and commenced a brutal 5-day battle against the Mokomo dukedom. He fought continuously against Inuarashi during daytime and Nekomamushi at night without rest, demonstrating incredible stamina. Growing impatient after 5 days of inconclusive fighting, Jack deployed Koro, a poisonous gas weapon created by Caesar Clown, to devastate Kurau City and weaken the minks. While wearing protective hazmat suits, Jack's forces tortured the poisoned minks, including crucifying victims, and Jack personally interrogated leaders, resulting in both Inuarashi and Nekomamushi losing limbs. Jack left Zou temporarily to rescue Don Quixote do Flamingo from marine escort but failed and reportedly died. However, Jack survived due to his fishman physiology, allowing underwater breathing. Returning to Zou, Jack decided to eliminate the minks completely by killing Zunisha itself using concentrated cannon fire on the elephant's aged, weakened legs. Zunisha begged Momonosuke for permission to defend itself, and once granted, annihilated Jack's entire fleet with one trunk swing. The massive blow shattered Jack's mask, knocked him unconscious, and sank all his ships, though he survived underwater again among the wreckage. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to minks and their Electro and Sulong abilities. Minks and their Electro and Sulong abilities. The minks are a warrior race with incredible abilities. Every mink can naturally use Electro, a technique that channels electricity through their bodies during combat. This makes them dangerous fighters, even without weapons. Under a full moon, certain minks can transform into their Sulong form, a powerful state that dramatically increases their speed, strength, and ferocity. The transformation turns their fur white and gives them wild, almost feral appearances. However, Sulong is extremely risky. If a mink cannot see the moon or loses control, they can rampage uncontrollably or die from exhaustion. The transformation requires intense training to master, and only experienced warriors can safely harness its power. Sulong was crucial during several major battles, turning the tide when the minks unleashed this devastating form against their enemies. Moving on to Carrot and Wanda of the Musketeers. Carrot and Wanda of the Musketeers. Carrot and Wanda are both members of the Musketeers, an elite fighting force that protects the Mokomo dukedom on Zou. The musketeers serve under Inuarashi, the ruler who governs during daytime hours. Carrot is a young rabbit mink who befriended the Straw Hats and joined them on their journey to Whole Cake Island. Despite her cheerful and innocent personality, she's a formidable fighter. Wanda is a canine mink and one of the more experienced musketeers who helped the Straw Hats when they first arrived on Zou. During the Whole Cake Island arc, Carrot demonstrated her Sulong transformation when the full moon appeared, becoming a devastating force against Big Mom's fleet. Her speed and power multiplied exponentially, allowing her to single-handedly decimate enemy ships. This showcased the terrifying potential of the mink's Sulong form in battle. Moving on to the Revolutionary Army's defiance at the Reverie. The Revolutionary Army's defiance at the Reverie. The Revolutionary Army made history at the Reverie by openly challenging the Celestial Dragon's authority. Led by their commanders, they infiltrated Mary Jiwais during the World Council meeting, one of the most heavily guarded locations in the world. Their primary mission was to declare war against the Celestial Dragons and free Bartholomew Kuma, the former warlord who had been enslaved and dehumanized as a servant to the world nobles. Kuma had sacrificed himself years earlier, allowing Dr. Vegapunk to transform him into a cyborg weapon for the world government. The revolutionaries successfully rescued Kuma, striking a major blow against the world nobles' absolute authority. This bold action sent shockwaves through the world, proving that the Revolutionary Army was powerful enough to challenge the world government directly on their home territory. Moving on to Sabo's survival and rise in the Revolutionary Army. Sabo's survival and rise in the Revolutionary Army. Sabo, believed dead as a child after his boat was destroyed by a celestial dragon, actually survived with amnesia. He was rescued by Monkey D. Dragon, leader of the Revolutionary Army, who found him drifting at sea. Dragon took Sabo under his wing, and the boy grew up within the revolutionary ranks, without remembering his past life or his childhood bonds with Luffy and Ace. Years later, when news of Ace's execution at Marineford spread worldwide, the shock broke through Sabo's amnesia. He remembered everything: his brothers, his promise, and the nobleman life he'd escaped. Devastated that he couldn't save Ace, Sabo dedicated himself completely to the revolutionary cause. His exceptional combat abilities, intelligence, and the power of the Mera no Mi, which he inherited after Ace's death, propelled him to become the chief of staff, second in command only to Dragon himself in the entire Revolutionary Army. Moving on to Sabo's Flame Emperor title after the Reverie. Sabo's Flame Emperor title after the Reverie. Following the chaos at the Reverie, Sabo became known worldwide as the Flame Emperor. This title emerged after the Revolutionary Army's bold infiltration of Mary Jiwais and their confrontation with the Celestial Dragons. The world government's newspapers spread stories about the incident, and Sabo's name became infamous across the globe. As the chief of staff wielding the Mera no Mi, the same flame powers once belonging to Ace, Sabo's reputation grew tremendously. The title Flame Emperor mirrors Luffy's 5th Emperor title, cementing Sabo as one of the world's most dangerous revolutionaries. However, disturbing news also emerged, suggesting something terrible happened to Sabo during or after the Reverie. The exact details remained mysterious, causing Luffy and his allies great concern. The title represents both Sabo's rising power and the Revolutionary Army's growing threat to the world government's authority. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to Jinbei's journey from Warlord to Straw Hat. Jinbei's journey from warlord to straw hat. Jinbei was a former warlord of the sea and the respected captain of the Sun Pirates before officially joining Luffy's crew. As a fishman and master of fishman karate, Jinbei commanded immense respect both underwater and on land. He first met Luffy in Impel Down Prison, where they formed a bond while trying to save Ace. Jinbei fought alongside Luffy at Marineford and later helped him recover emotionally after Ace's death. Though Jinbei wanted to join the Straw Hats earlier, he had obligations to Big Mom that prevented him from leaving immediately. He resigned from the warlords and eventually severed ties with Big Mom's crew, though this nearly cost him his life. After helping the Straw Hats escape Whole Cake Island and surviving the battle in Wano, Jinbei finally became the crew's official helmsman, the 10th member, and a powerful addition to Luffy's forces. Moving on to the Sun Pirates' Symbolic Sun Tattoo. The Sun Pirates' Symbolic Sun Tattoo. The Sun Pirates created a powerful symbol of freedom by covering slave brands with a sun tattoo. Many members, including Fisher Tiger and other fishmen, had been slaves of the Celestial Dragons, who branded them with the hoof of the soaring dragon, a mark of ownership and shame. After Fisher Tiger freed slaves from Mary Geoise, he founded the Sun Pirates and encouraged former slaves to cover their brands with the sun symbol. This tattoo represented liberation, hope, and a new beginning, free from the world noble's control. The sun design made it impossible to tell who had been slaves and who hadn't, protecting former slaves from discrimination and persecution. Even Boa Hancock and her sisters from the Kuja Pirates bear this mark, hiding their shameful past as slaves. The symbol became legendary throughout the world, representing resistance against the Celestial Dragon's tyranny and the Sun Pirates' commitment to freedom and equality for all races. Moving on to Fishman Karate and Water Manipulation. Fishman Karate and Water Manipulation. Fishman Karate is a powerful martial art that manipulates water to deliver devastating strikes. This fighting style doesn't require direct contact with water sources. Practitioners can manipulate the moisture in the air itself, and even the water inside an opponent's body. Fishmen like Jinbei are masters of this technique, using it to strike enemies from a distance or amplify their physical attacks with water pressure. The karate works by sending shockwaves through water molecules, making it incredibly effective both underwater and on land. Since the human body is mostly water, Fishman Karate can cause internal damage, even if the external hit seems light. Techniques like the 5,000 tile true punch can send enemies flying with concentrated water pressure. The style gives fishmen a massive advantage in combat, especially against devil fruit users who are weakened by water. Jinbei demonstrated this power countless times, even blocking Big Mom's attacks and fighting against powerful opponents using these water-based techniques. Moving on to the Calm Belt and its Sea King dangers. The Calm Belt and its Sea King dangers. The Calm Belt consists of two massive strips of ocean that border the Grand Line on both sides. These regions are incredibly dangerous because they're completely windless, making traditional sailing nearly impossible. Ships get stranded without wind to push their sails, leaving them helpless. Even worse, the Calm Belt is home to enormous Sea King's giant sea monsters that can easily destroy entire fleets. These creatures nest in the Calm Belt's waters, making it a natural barrier that protects the Grand Line from outside interference. For centuries, this made the Grand Line nearly inaccessible, except through specific entry points. However, the Marines developed a solution using sea stone, a special mineral that emits the same energy as the sea itself. By coating their ship hulls with sea stone, Marine vessels can pass through the Calm Belt, undetected by Sea Kings, who mistake the ships for ordinary ocean. This technology gives the Marines a massive strategic advantage, allowing them to travel quickly between different parts of the world, while pirates must take longer, more dangerous routes through the Grand Line itself. Moving on to Reverse Mountain and the Grand Line's 4 routes. Reverse Mountain and the Grand Line's 4 routes. Reverse Mountain is the primary entrance to the Grand Line and one of the world's most unusual geographical features. Water from all 4 seas flows up this mountain through canals, defying normal physics due to unique geological and magnetic properties. At the mountain's peak, these currents converge and rush down a 5th canal into the Grand Line. This creates an incredibly dangerous passage where one navigational mistake means crashing into the mountain and certain death. Once ships successfully descend Reverse Mountain, they enter the Grand Line at Twin Cape. From there, the Grand Line splits into 7 different magnetic routes. Though most pirates can only choose between the initial 4 routes based on which log pose reading they follow first. Each route varies in difficulty and danger, with some being notoriously more treacherous than others. Ships cannot change routes once committed without risking getting lost permanently, as the Grand Line's chaotic magnetic fields make normal navigation completely impossible without special tools. Moving on to the Eternal Pose and Permanent Navigation. The Eternal Pose and Permanent Navigation. An Eternal Pose is a specialized compass that locks onto one specific island's magnetic field permanently. Unlike regular log poses that must record each island's magnetism sequentially as you travel through the Grand Line, an Eternal Pose provides a direct route to its designated island regardless of your current location. This makes Eternal Poses incredibly valuable for returning to important locations or bypassing dangerous routes entirely. However, they're rare and expensive, because each one must be carefully calibrated to a specific island's unique magnetic signature. Pirates and traders who possess multiple Eternal Poses have significant advantages in the Grand Line, allowing them flexible travel options that others lack. The world government and Marines utilize Eternal Poses extensively for their operations, maintaining collections that let them reach any important location quickly. Some islands like Laugh-Tale have no known Eternal Pose, making them impossible to reach directly and forcing travelers to follow the proper route sequence to arrive there naturally. Moving on to Laboon's Vigil at Twin Cape. Laboon's Vigil at Twin Cape. Laboon is a massive island-sized whale who waits at Twin Cape, the Grand Line's entrance at the base of Reverse Mountain. For over 50 years, Laboon has kept a promise to the Rumbar pirates, his former crew who left him behind when entering the Grand Line decades ago. The pirates promised to return after their journey, but they never came back. They all died from illness in the Florian Triangle. Not knowing their fate, Laboon continues waiting faithfully, repeatedly headbutting the Red Line in frustration and grief. These impacts have left his head covered in scars and caused him tremendous pain, but he refuses to leave or give up hope. Crocus, a former Roger Pirates member, became the Twin Cape lighthouse keeper and has tried protecting Laboon while keeping him company. When Luffy met Laboon, he fought the whale and made a new promise to return after sailing the Grand Line and tell Laboon about their adventures. Luffy painted the Straw Hat Pirate's Jolly Roger on Laboon's head, giving the whale a reason to stop hurting himself and wait for Luffy's return instead. Moving on to Thriller Bark and Gecko Moria's Shadow Powers. Thriller Bark and Gecko Moria's Shadow Powers. Thriller Bark is an enormous ship island, the largest pirate ship ever constructed in the One Piece world. Gecko Moria, one of the 7 warlords, commands this floating fortress and uses it as his base of operations. The entire island is designed like a horror-themed amusement park filled with zombies, ghosts, and gothic architecture. Moria ate the Kage Kage no Mi, a devil fruit that grants him complete control over shadows. He can steal people's shadows by cutting them away with scissors, and those who lose their shadows cannot survive in sunlight. Direct light will instantly disintegrate their bodies. Moria places stolen shadows into corpses, creating zombie soldiers who possess the combat abilities and personalities of the shadow's original owner. He built an army of zombies this way, including powerful warriors whose shadows came from strong pirates and fighters. Moria's ultimate creation was Ors, a giant zombie implanted with Luffy's shadow, making it incredibly dangerous. The Straw Hats barely survived their encounter on Thriller Bark, and many pirates never escaped the island, becoming permanent shadow donors for Moria's twisted zombie army. Moving on to Bartholomew Kuma scattering the Straw Hats. Bartholomew Kuma scattering the Straw Hats. Bartholomew Kuma changed the Straw Hats' destiny when he scattered them across the world to different islands. Using his Nikyu Nikyu no Mi powers, Kuma can repel anything, including people, sending them flying for days to precise locations, thousands of miles away. After the devastating events at Sabaody Archipelago, where the crew faced Admiral Kizaru and multiple pacifistas, they were completely overwhelmed. Kuma appeared and methodically launched each crew member to different islands, despite their desperate attempts to stay together. This seemed like a catastrophic defeat at the time, but Kuma actually saved their lives. He sent each member to locations perfectly suited for their individual growth and training needs. The separation forced everyone to become stronger independently rather than relying on each other. This 2-year separation became the time skip period, where each Straw Hat trained intensively, developing new techniques and abilities. When they finally reunited at Sabaody, each member had grown tremendously stronger. Kuma's actions, though appearing cruel initially, were actually a final act of kindness from someone who secretly supported the Revolutionary Army and protected the Straw Hats. Moving on to Luffy's training under Rayleigh on Rusukaina. Luffy's training under Rayleigh on Rusukaina. Luffy spent 2 years training under Silver's Rayleigh, the former first mate of Goldie Roger, on Rusukaina Island. This uninhabited island near Amazon Lily contains incredibly dangerous wildlife, with creatures so powerful that humans rarely survive there. Rayleigh chose this location specifically because the constant threats would force Luffy to grow stronger through real combat experience. During this training, Rayleigh taught Luffy the 3 types of Haki observation: armament and the rare Conqueror's Haki. Luffy learned to sense opponents' intentions, coat his body in invisible armor to damage Logia users and defend against powerful attacks, and project his willpower to knock out weaker enemies. The training was brutal, with Luffy fighting massive beasts daily while mastering these abilities. Rayleigh only stayed for the first 18 months, leaving Luffy to continue alone for the final 6 months to truly master everything independently. This training transformed Luffy from someone who couldn't damage Logia users into a fighter capable of challenging the New World's strongest opponents with advanced Haki techniques. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to Zoro's training under Mihawk at Kuraigana Island. Zoro's training under Mihawk at Kuraigana Island. Zoro trained under Dracul Mihawk, the world's greatest swordsman, at Kuraigana Island during the 2-year time skip. Kuma had sent Zoro to Mihawk's gloomy castle home, which was filled with aggressive human drills, baboons that learned to wield weapons by watching humans fight. Initially, Mihawk refused to train Zoro, seeing him as an enemy who had invaded his home. However, when Zoro swallowed his pride and begged Mihawk to train him for Luffy's sake, Mihawk reconsidered. He recognized that Zoro was willing to abandon his personal pride to help his captain grow stronger. Mihawk agreed to teach Zoro his swordsmanship techniques and Haki applications. The training was incredibly harsh, with Zoro fighting countless human drills and enduring Mihawk's brutal lessons. Zoro learned to coat his swords in armament haki, dramatically increasing their cutting power and durability. By the end of his training, Zoro could easily defeat the human drills that had once threatened him and had developed new, powerful sword techniques. He became strong enough to eventually challenge Mihawk properly as a true rival. Moving on to Nami's weather studies and Usopp's Boin training. Nami's weather studies and Usopp's Boin training. Nami spent the time skip on Weatheria, a small sky island inhabited by weather scientists who study atmospheric phenomena. Kuma sent her to this floating island, knowing her talents as a navigator would flourish there. The old weathermen taught Nami advanced meteorology and weather manipulation techniques using special weather balls and other scientific tools. She learned to predict weather patterns with incredible accuracy and create localized weather effects for combat. Nami's Climatact weapon received significant upgrades, allowing her to generate lightning, mirages, and powerful storms. Meanwhile, Usopp landed on the Boin Archipelago, a dangerous island that was actually a massive carnivorous plant disguised as a tropical paradise. The island lured victims with delicious food before digesting them slowly. Usopp initially gained weight eating the island's abundant food, but Heracles, a strange beetle-like warrior, saved him and became his mentor. Heracles taught Usopp about the island's dangerous pop-green plants and how to weaponize them. Usopp trained his sniping skills while dodging the island's constant threats, eventually developing new ammunition types using these plants. He cultivated various pop greens that could grow instantly into useful tools, traps, or weapons during battle. Moving on to Frankie's upgrades at Vegapunk's laboratory. Frankie's upgrades at Vegapunk's laboratory. Frankie landed on Karakuri Island, the birthplace of Dr. Vegapunk, the world's greatest scientist, and the genius behind the Marine's advanced technology. The island contained Vegapunk's abandoned laboratory, filled with futuristic inventions and blueprints from his early research. Frankie accidentally triggered an explosion that destroyed most of his body, but he survived by rebuilding himself, using Vegapunk's technology and designs. He studied everything in the laboratory, learning advanced engineering principles far beyond anything he'd previously understood. Frankie upgraded himself massively, transforming into a cyborg weapon system called BF-37, Battle Frankie. His new body included laser beams powered by Vegapunk's Pacifista technology, rocket launchers, extendable arms, and countless hidden weapons. He could now separate his body parts and even combine them into different configurations. Frankie also enhanced his durability with stronger armor plating and increased his fuel capacity. The upgrades made him exponentially more powerful and versatile in combat, turning him from a strong cyborg into a walking battleship capable of matching powerful New World opponents. Moving on to Brook's musical fame and soul projection abilities. Brook's musical fame and soul projection abilities. Brook became a world-famous musician during the time skip, achieving the superstar status he'd always dreamed about. After landing on Namakura Island in the Tenajina Kingdom, Brook was captured and forced to perform for the locals as Satangent Sama. His music became incredibly popular, and eventually his fame spread worldwide. Brook's concerts drew massive audiences, and he released hit albums under the stage name Soul King Brook. This celebrity status would later help the Straw Hats, as Brook's fame gave them unexpected advantages in certain situations. Beyond entertainment, Brook discovered new abilities related to his Yomi Yomi no Mi Devil Fruit during this period. He learned to project his soul outside his skeleton body, essentially becoming a ghost that could pass through walls, scout ahead invisibly, and even possess other bodies temporarily. This soul projection technique made Brook an incredibly valuable spy and infiltrator. He also developed ice-based sword techniques by channeling his soul's coldness of death through his blade, freezing opponents on contact. These new abilities transformed Brook from primarily a musician into a genuinely dangerous combatant. Moving on to the Five Elders and their true names. The Five Elders and their true names. The Five Elders are the highest-ranking celestial dragons who publicly govern the world government beneath the mysterious Im. For centuries, they appeared as five elderly men who made all major political decisions. But their true identities remained mysterious. Their full names are Jay Garcia, Saturn, Marcus Mars, Topman Warkery, Ethan Baron V, Nusjuro, and Shepherd Jupiter. Each name follows the pattern of celestial dragon naming conventions with elaborate titles. These five individuals have ruled for an impossibly long time, suggesting they possess some form of immortality or extended lifespan. During the Egghead incident, they revealed their true monstrous forms. Each elder can transform into a massive yokai-like creature with devastating powers. Saturn appeared as a Juki, ox spider, Mars as an Itsumade, bird creature, Warkery as a Hoki, boar, Nusjuro as a Bakotsu, skeletal horse, and Jupiter as a sandworm. These transformations suggest they consumed mythical Zoan devil fruits or received power through other means. The elders serve Im directly and have committed countless atrocities to maintain the world government's control, including ordering buster calls and covering up the Void Century's truth. Moving on to Imu's supreme authority and Cobra's assassination. Imu's supreme authority and Cobra's assassination. Imu is the true ruler of the world, who sits on the empty throne that supposedly no one occupies. This mysterious figure holds absolute authority above even the five elders, who bow and kneel before Imu despite being the world government's public leaders. For centuries, the world believed the empty throne symbolized equality among nations with no single ruler. But this was a lie. Imu has secretly controlled everything from the shadows, making decisions that shaped world history. During the reverie, King Nefertari Cobra of Alabasta discovered dangerous truths about the Void Century and questioned the five elders about the meaning of the letter D. His questions threatened to expose secrets the world government desperately wanted buried. Imu personally ordered Cobra's assassination to prevent this information from spreading. Cobra was attacked by the five elders in their monstrous forms and mortally wounded. Though Sabo tried saving him, Cobra died from his injuries. The world government blamed Cobra's death on Sabo and the Revolutionary Army, using it as propaganda against the revolutionaries. Imu's willingness to murder a king from one of the original 20 founding families shows their ruthlessness in protecting the world's greatest secrets. Imu's identity, powers, and true goals remain among One Piece's biggest mysteries. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.